Let's go.
What up, guys? Welcome back to I Hear Reverb. There we go. Welcome back to Mental Theater, and we have some. We got our Avengers in the building. We have Big Mike back with us. What up, Big Mike?
What's good? What's good, man? I love the new intro too, bro. I like that, man.
I absolutely appreciate that, good sir. We got my cuz all the way from Philly. Yo, what up, cuz?
What up, cuz? How y'all doing?
Great. Glad to have you here. You're going to add some great perspective as always, because he's my Dave, Big Mike. In terms of the comics, someone who's like a comic scribe. That's Jay. That's my big cousin right there. And of course, we got Chloé in the building. You know, to hold it down to the ladies out there and to give some balanced perspective with you guys. Appreciate it. So first, guys, we got to talk about the It movie in the MCU at the moment, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I always forget that the Wasp is there. I'm not gonna lie. And then Quantumania. What do we think about it?
Well, in all fairness, it seems like Disney and Marvel forget that the Wasp is there too.
Yeah.
True. I mean, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead. I got you afterwards.
The critics said that it was terrible. I think it's pitching 40-something% Rotten Tomato score.
47, yeah.
Give or take. Yeah, give or take, right? I don't have it that low. I have it probably somewhere. Personally, I give it a solid C, maybe a weak C plus. But it feels like we're just tired, just fatigued with Marvel movies in general. I separate the two because DC doesn't count; it doesn't exist, right? And you know, the boys never ever gets mentioned in this kind of diaspora. So, yeah, I think we're just tired of Marvel winning.
Okay.
It's true. I can definitely see that. It's kind of like we all wanted Thanos to win because we were so used to the Avengers losing. And then when he did win and they came back and order was restored. But for the most part, Jay is right. Marvel keeps winning, even though I will, put some respect on DC's name because our movies get Oscars and whatnot. You feel me? But besides that, yeah, Marvel in terms of the box office has been winning for sure by a landslide.
It took a dead man to get an Oscar for you, cuz. Please knock it off.
Don't forget Joaquin, the original in the original cast of the Gladiator, which we'll get into later. But yes, Joaquin got one for the Joker, and Part 2 is on the way, and we'll get to that later.
Oh my God, you pounded your chest over 2 Oscars.
I mean, in the film business, that's
not
the
enjoyment. Not enjoyment.
That's
not
the trophies. It's box office.
Leaving the movie theater.
It's box office, which is the happiness leaving the movie theater. You're correct, but also on the studio side, for professional pride, it is the Oscars. That's the goal. That's the destination. So both, as Big Mike says, both things can be accurate and be true at the same time.
Professional pride only matters in sports.
I would say in all professions. You
don't see teachers. You don't see teachers pounding their chest.
They definitely do.
Especially the lifers. Especially the lifers.
But
okay, it's all right. We digress.
I want to get back on topic about Quantumania
movie.
Yeah.
And by the way, sorry guys, this is in fact a spoiler review. So by all means, we don't mess around here. It's been out long enough. This is your final Final spoiler warning. All right, go ahead, Big Mike.
Well, I gave it a 7, maybe 6.5. I'm really teetering, going back and forth. I do agree with Jay and the Marvel fatigue, but I think also it's the quality of the product. It's just not as good. So it's a little bit of both. I also feel like with this movie is the box office is horrible. They might not even break even. Like, so I feel like that. I feel like Kang shouldn't have been introduced in the no. Well, sorry, he shouldn't have been the big bad in the Ant-Man movie. I feel like Ant-Man just don't go with Kang. It just don't work. You know. So I feel like they tried to make it work, but it really doesn't. And it's like it was like two different movies. It was like Kang's movie, and then it was like the Ant-Man movie to me. Certainly. So I thought Majors was great as Kang, obviously, but I do feel like it wasn't a great movie overall. So
Mike,
yeah,
let me ask you a question real fast.
yeah.
What was better, Ant-Man or the last Ant-Man or the last Doctor Strange movie?
Like Ant-Man just happened, Quantumania.
Yeah.
Oh, they both were subpar, but I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna go with Strange because of Wanda. Actually,
I would go with Strange as well, but I would go with Strange because they gave us some fan service in the form of the Illuminati.
I'm not a big fan service dude, but I feel what you're saying now.
Two things, right?
Yeah.
When I saw Quantumania, two things came to mind as I left the theater. Number one, they need to get the fuck out of Atlanta making movies.
Okay.
Right? Like, I know you look at a movie like Ant-Man and you can tell 90% of this was filmed in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of want, and maybe Ant-Man isn't the movie that they could have done this with, but I feel like anything is possible at this point. I feel like they could have given us some more real world elements. The last, I don't know, 4 or 5 Marvel movies, save for No Way Home, I feel like they all kind of had this kind of sheen on it, like this. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of
I get
like
what you're saying.
how you could
Yeah.
tell like a 4K video from like a regular camera,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
You talk about Ant-Man, Thor, Love and Thunder, Strange. I get what you're saying. They're all kind of the same. I feel what you're saying. Like in that Sheen one.
right, like almost like it's filmed on a back lot somewhere. You know
Well,
what I'm
they
saying?
got
Like
they got the volume now, right? That Disney uses that they film like all the Star Wars shows and a lot of the Marvel stuff. It's like this huge what is it, Josh? Like this huge dome type of thing. They
Yeah, it's
call it
like
like
a
the
long
volume.
screen.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
yeah, so that was the first thought I had. The second thought I had was they haven't introduced, they haven't surprised us in a while, right? Through the phases, right? And you know, they telegram or they telegraph every move that's going to be made. But I feel like in one of these movies they could have introduced the characters that we absolutely kind of have been waiting
Yeah.
for them to get to, right? Like I agree with you about Kang, right? I felt like this would have been the perfect movie to introduce Doctor Doom through Kang, right? Instead, you know, you introduce or you reintroduce Kang. You provided some exposition on his backstory, but you provided that through a fucking forgotten character, right? Like in the forgotten character is Michelle Pfeiffer, correct?
Janet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it kind of felt unnecessary, right? And I don't know if it's just me, but you know, a white woman landed on an alien planet, albeit a very small alien planet, I guess, and being celebrated for her return, kind of don't feel right in 2023.
That's fair. Chloe,
Where's
you want
there
to
at? What's your
you want
take?
to jump in there, Chloe, with your perspective?
Yeah, I'm just listening. I mean, you guys make valid points. Definitely valid points. Me specifically, y'all know I've been waiting for King the Conqueror for like years. It feels like years. So for me, I mean, my overall rating of the movie, I give it like an 8, strong 8, like solid 8. I like this better for the storyline, based off of it's the catalyst to what's to come. So like that's where my rating comes from. Now, Jay, you asked which was a better movie overall between this and Doctor Strange. I rated Doctor Strange lower because the storyline was stupid to me. But if it was on its own, right, like outside of the Marvel universe and just its standalone movie, and they both were just standalone movies, Doctor Strange would be better as far as like the storyline within that movie. But I particularly rated this higher than Doctor Strange because this moves the story along finally. Like I was waiting for them to introduce King in Spider-Man No Way Home. Like I wanted to see him then. Like I've been waiting since Loki. Loki's my favorite show, if y'all don't know yet, but because Loki was like that surprise that Marvel had in a back pocket, like that just blew my mind. It blew my mind, and I don't know if I'm just like geeked out on it because it's just like I like things that are unexpected because I feel like I always can tell what's gonna happen in movies, but like that just blew my mind. And so finally, it's like the story is developing from that change. So it's like building upon it. It's kind of like it's building up momentum. Like we're in the part where the Big Bang didn't happen yet, but it's coming. So like to see all the puzzle pieces align, it's gonna be epic. Like Thor, I don't see how Thor kind of tied into all of this. I think that they were gonna come out with those, what is it, the Kid Avengers or whatever. But people got fired over at Disney, so that's that project's on hold. Yeah, this recession is it's really a thing. Like this recession is it's affecting products. And I remember back in the pandemic before when Disney Plus first came out, we were speculating about, you know, what's going to be up if they put out too much content. Like that was a question we had. And for me, it's like I love the fact that they have a lot of content because it gives context to stuff. But I think because they focus too much on the Disney shows that the movies are lacking.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
So it's like they have to find that happy balance, and I don't think it's gonna come soon unless now because they trimmed the fat. Like they got rid of a lot of people and replaced people and put other people back where they're supposed to be. So I'm curious to see moving forward. Like even the Ant-Man movie, they said that the ending, like the end scene, the last scene when he goes back into like the loop or whatever, they said that was a last minute decision.
Yeah.
Like they filmed that a week before the release of the video. I mean, the movie or something, or 2 weeks before.
Yeah, they were supposed to get stuck in there in the quantum world. Ant-Man and Wasp. Yeah.
Yeah, and he came out. So and then they had the Loki cutscene, which also wasn't planned. So I'm just like excited. Like I cannot wait till Loki season. So I'm more excited about the season of Loki than I am about the movie. So I want it to build up. Like I want them to take their time with the Loki season, and then the other shows are like branched off of that. And then we come back to a movie where it all goes down. Like I want a cliffhanger, and then the movie comes out, and you're like, what? So we'll see what happens.
Go ahead, cuz.
Oh, you knew I wanted to come back in. I agree with what Chloe's saying, right? Like I think Chloe brings up some really good points. Specifically about Loki, right? I feel like the Loki show was the best thing that Marvel has given us. Although those first 3 shows, save for the last episode of Black Captain America, were really, really, really strong series, right? However, I kind of disagree with one thing that Chloe is saying, which is the big buildup, right? And I disagree with it again because of what Marvel is telling us, right? Like it feels like these phases are getting shorter and shorter. And I understand why it feels like that. It's because they're putting more and more content in, so we don't have a lot of time in between where we're just waiting for something, right?
Mhm.
But I also feel like they're not developing the stories that they're telling as much as it feels like it's a race to the finish line.
Mhm.
And I'll point out some things that we don't have that back when, you know, I'm an original MCU viewer, like you know, it's like a BC AD kind of thing, like before Black Panther, after Black Panther, for us melanated people, right? Like when I first saw Iron Man, and you know those first three movies, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and they started to outline a little bit of the plan. The first thing I thought was, damn, I wonder how an X-Men movie would be with them, right? Now, as a young comic book fan, X-Men was my shit, right? As an older comic book fan, I realized that X-Men doesn't really have a lot of decent stories, right? And their most famous stories are really, really convoluted, right? So looking at what the MCU, how the MCU started, it was like, yo, I would love to see what they do with the X-Men. Can they make the Phoenix Saga make sense, right? Can they make Genosha and Sentinels make sense, right? Outside of the X-Men, though, we still haven't seen the Fantastic Four and all of their big bags, right? We still haven't seen what they could actually do with Blade and the more horror, you know, horrorcore aspects of the Marvel Universe, right? They're just now allowing us to see a little bit of the multiverse, which is really just them, you know, like the perfect storm for being able to retcon something that wasn't done properly, right? But it still feels like for us to get the Secret Wars, we have to account for all of these properties that they haven't done yet. And Secret Wars is going to come in phase 6, which at this point feels like it might
No, phase
happen.
5.
Oh, Secret Wars is supposed to be in phase 5. So
Right.
for shit sure, we're what, 2 years away from Secret Wars?
Yeah, at least.
Secret Wars is supposed to give us everything.
But see, I think
Right?
they're holding that for a reason.
Let me piggyback real quick. Because I kind of agree with Jay. With Chloe, disagree with Chloe because I feel like well, I get your point, but it's like we had Eternals, we had and how that movie ended, and then we got like all these different shows, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. It's like I don't feel like there's no build up from those to what we're seeing now. So it's kind of like we're just watching these projects. Like Eternals ended with half of them split up, and they're chasing after the Celestials. It has nothing to do with Kang. You know what I mean? But that's like a whole different story, like a whole different plot line.
Well, y'all ever watch a movie where it's just random stuff happening, and then at the end everything comes back? Like Marvel ain't stupid. And they're with Disney right now, so I think that's the whole point, is to throw you off. Like, why are all these random things happening? Because they
got their own story to finish. The Eternals. That's like halfway done.
No, but listen, Mike, I think that it's going to tie in. Like how I'm just a fan of Disney, and I don't know much about Marvel. Like I wasn't a hardcore Marvel person growing up, but I was a hardcore Disney, and Disney knows what they're doing. There's a science behind it.
And that's what I want to ask you about that. So generally speaking, right, forget Disney and Marvel. Are you okay if like you know, the journey there is subpar, but once you get there, it's great?
Because like it's going to make, I think it's going to be genius. It's like you ever watch someone paint a painting and you're like, what is this painting gonna be? They're just throwing things on there. And then at the end you're like, oh shoot, that's Tupac. And it's like, but I didn't understand. It looked like a dog at one point, it looked like a cloud, and I think that they're doing that for a reason, because it's a bigger, but they have to make everything last. Like I think that it feels like it's sped up because they had to adjust to the capability of putting out products so quick. So now they're like, oh wait, we have technology to do this. Now we got to make it make sense. So we're going to slow things down a little bit. We're going to change the little things around, and then we're going to focus on the bigger picture, which is this. Like, I really have a faith. Maybe that's just my faith in Disney, but because Disney does not fail, like they don't play games. So maybe it's my faith in them that they're going to connect all the dots, and you're going to be like, whoa.
I think they do fail, but I think it's not
But
all shit though.
But like, what do you mean fail? Like a one project fail?
I think the entire second Star Wars sequel trilogy was trash. I think they failed that. They failed us on that, and that was Disney, in my
Well,
opinion.
Save for the last half of the last, what is it, part 6 or part 3? Save for the last half of that movie. No, Mike, you're absolutely right. The whole fucking thing you can throw in the garbage.
I agree 100%. I don't know what Josh is on. I know you're a Star Wars fan like me, but that's how I feel. So.
but they picked up the ball with the Mandalorian. Like now, I like Star Wars.
That's a TV show though. Like Star Wars needs. Okay, we're off topic, but Star Wars needs movies. Like
listen, movie world is now it's the same. It ain't no different now, Mike. In 2023, in my opinion, I think that there, certain things will be on a bigger screen, but that's going to be the only difference between quality because the technology is cheaper. It's not like before in the 90s where it's like, oh my God, we need $100 million for this one film. And if we get 5 years,
allow me to cut in.
Go ahead.
Chloé, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong with any of what you're saying, right? Not only because it's your opinion, but you like enthusiastically, you're not wrong. But I'm not sure if you're hearing I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. And I can bring this together for me and Big Mike, right? Which is the first 3 phases of the MCU. There were no narrative hiccups, right? And since Infinity War, right, we've gotten nothing but narrative hiccups. Are they narrative hiccups like a Starbucks cup being left on set? No, right? But us Marvel fans, us MCU fans expect flawlessness, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the first Black Panther, right? Just not even the first Black Panther. You just look at the introduction of the Black Panther. Again,
that's better than the first Black Panther to me.
You said what, Mike?
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. I mean, I said that's great. To me, I like Black Panther better in Civil War than I do in Black Panther, but that's just me. So.
No, but just the introduction of that character into the MCU.
Yeah, it was dope.
You got to understand, like this was a shitty character in the 80s. This was a shitty character in the 90s. Yeah, absolutely, Chloé. Absolutely. Like they did not know how to write an interesting story for this character until Ryan Coogler. Right? Like Ryan Coogler lined it up for him. Go ahead, Mike. You correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, Jay. But to be fair, same thing for Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. Like they weren't popular. They weren't popular in the 90s and 80s.
No. But if you were a hardcore comic book guy, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor were the books that you liked. Outside of that, right? Even if they weren't popular, they at least had different stories, right? Decent stories, not different.
Nobody checking for Thor, bro. Be real. And Thor book, Thor didn't even have a cartoon. Like
This nigga didn't shoot lasers from his eyes or have claws coming out his goddamn hands. No, nobody was checking for him. You're absolutely right. not when I was a kid. What the fuck are you telling me? This nigga got a cape and a hammer. What the fuck is he gonna be doing? Right? Like that was the general thought. But think like that's a testament to the brilliance of the narrative that they wrote, right? They took 3 of the corniest characters in the history of comic books.
Yeah.
And made them bigger than the two most iconic characters in the history of American literature, that being Superman and Batman, over their respective runs. You follow what I'm saying? Over
Mhm.
their respective runs. So if you look back to where they introduce Black Panther, they introduce him in a cool way. They tell a decent fucking story. When you get to that first Black Panther movie is everything. That first Black Panther movie is everything because there's no narrative hookups. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense socially. Everything makes sense thematically. Everything makes sense from a storyline kind of, position. Even the way that they work in Michael B. Jordan's character, right? And then you look at the second Black Panther, and
But we
you
on that now?
realize, and you realize that once you remove the obvious emotional component to everything, right?
It was trash.
That, oh shit, these niggas gave us swimming Mexicans.
It wasn't about
That's
Black
facts.
Panther. The movie was not about Black Panther. That was
You
the
sound like
Namor.
Dr. Umar with the Mexican.
That was the Namor movie. They were Aztecian swimmers.
Bro, number one, I'm not even going to say whether they exist or not. I'm just going to point out the obvious, that none of us give a fuck.
Well,
Right?
I would say a certain demographic probably does.
I wish that he had his own movie. He should have had his own movie. That was he appropriated the Black Panther movie.
Because to be completely honest with you, right? That demographic just got El Canto.
What's El Canto?
Encanto.
Oh, Encanto. But they also had America Chavez. It's like, that's fine. They have that, but I don't have a problem with Namor. I just got a problem that the movie was titled Black Panther. You know what it is? They're naming these movies wrong. They're misleading. Like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse was not about Doctor Strange. It was about it should have been called WandaVision. Ant-Man and the Wasp should have just been called Ant-Man versus Kang or something. What's another one? Black Panther should have just been called Namor. And it's really misleading, and that's the part that's throwing me off. Like,
I mean,
Eternals, I don't know how that fit into everything, but I'm also very confused with that. But I'm just gonna say I'm just waiting.
I hear you, Chloe.
But
the amount of shit that they gotta introduce, like, yo, where the fuck are the Fantastic Four?
They dead now in the universe.
A different multiverse.
I think they're going to announce the cast to that soon. Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four it's going to be the one trying to save them. I think, honestly.
I mean, do you realize just how big a deal?
No,
if you're not a
First
comic
family
book
of Marvel.
like those are their original. That's their original. That was their second hit. Spider-Man was their first massive hit, right? The Fantastic Four is their second hit. Like, that's their second one where it's like, oh shit, we lined it up, right?
I'm reading the comic. I'm sorry.
This
is
like
Tyler Perry, yes, but it's not.
Fantastic Four is a big deal, and we're about to get a Secret Wars in about 2.5 years, and we have nothing that even hints that the Fantastic Four are anywhere near being introduced in this universe.
I just want to say this. I don't know if you're on the I don't know if you're on the topic, Josh, but I'm just going to say this about the Marvel thing. I was saying the thing like kind of what Jay's saying though, but if you look at the first 3 phases, to me it just was like this feeling when you left the theater between those first few movies, the original Avengers, Civil War, then the Infinity War. It just felt different. Now it's like I saw a movie. Okay, you know what I mean? You don't have that same type of it's like you psyched as you there was other movies back then. I say back in the day, like it was a long time ago, but some years back. Now it's just like another comic book. Kind of like what he said, like Marvel fatigue or something like that. It's just like another. Like I'm not surprised. I'm not excited. Ant-Man was like anticlimactic to me. I was like, okay. The damn MODOK was ridiculous, and it's like took me out of the film almost.
Chill. I actually kind of fucked with MODOK. I kind of
Really?
No, I
fuck
fuck
with
with
MODOK.
MODOK, but not this MODOK though. And it's not even the original story.
I fuck with all forms of MODOK. And here's the thing. There's no way that you can make MODOK make sense. Right? Like if you stick to the original comic book origin of everything, he absolutely doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
The way that they use him, I think everybody felt like it would be like a Red Skull on the mountaintop, right? And it's not that. It's fucking MODOK. You know what I'm saying? It's a giant head, little arms, little legs, fucking killing machine. I don't know. I'll be 40 in May, so maybe it has something to do with 3+ decades of reading fantasy fiction that this shit just makes sense to me. I'll give you that, right? But I think we doing too much attacking MODOK. You follow what I'm saying? We're doing too much attacking MODOK.
My problem with MODOK in the movie, go back to Ant-Man, Quantumania, was that I know Marvel can be jokey, but first of all, the jokes didn't hit for MODOK. That's number one.
They didn't.
And they were like the wrong times.
They did not hit. Like she randomly called him the D word.
Out of nowhere. Right?
Like,
it didn't
what?
hit. It just didn't
That
hit.
was weird. I didn't like that part in the movie. I was like, they just put that in there just to put it in there? Like, what? It was corny. And I'm goofy. Like, I like to laugh at goofy stuff, and that just was stupid to me. I'm like,
And that was the reason for his face turn. Like, he went from heel to face because she was like, stop being a D. What the hell? Like, that was the reason for his face turn? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Nah, I'm leaving it up. So.
But I agree with y'all. Like, it's not hitting. It's not giving what it was supposed to give. But I think that's because they had to. It's like transition period for Marvel / Disney. Like, you gotta remember, we just came out of a pandemic, so a lot of stuff has gone down. Like, and when these movies were being filmed and stuff, and like storyboarding and all other details that go into these movies, it's kind of like I'm not surprised that they're not doing what they were supposed to do, or they're not giving what they were supposed to give. Because we always forget that we just came out of like an unprecedented moment in history, and it's like people who work at these companies are just regular people with jobs who are dealing with real life stuff. Not to make any excuses, because I'm not, but because I agree with y'all. Like, it's just like, whatever.
I think it's too many projects. Last year they had 9 projects between TV and movies.
Yeah,
I think when you spread yourself so thin, first of all, Kevin Feige is only one man, right? They only oversee but so much.
He was on every credit he could be on.
But he can't really put as much time into each project as he used to. So I think it's too many projects to me.
I agree 1,000%. And this is the product of what we're getting. So what I think that they're cutting the fat, they're trimming the fat, and it's going to get back to where we need it to be at. Because if not, they're going to lose money, and all they care about is the bottom line.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to take this time to read out of Tony Stark Jr.'s comments, which are all great. We'll start back and then work our way back. Marvel wants to cater to men, comic book fans, moms, kids, and it's just not working for people like us. That's fair, but they are making money. So what else can we say? That's point one. Number two, MODOK was dumb as hell. The problem is Marvel wants to be comedy now. Absolutely. This is why I'm not a real big fan of the Asgardians of the Galaxy. This is what happens when Marvel stopped having the Hulk, Mike. The lack of Hulk, as was the death of Marvel. Quote me on it. Only X-Men can save Marvel. And to Jay's question, to me, what says where the X-Men fit into that is with the mutant of Kamala Khan, and of course the multiverse with Kang. So for me, that's where I see it, and we'll get back into that later. But Tony also says, but the Black Panther Part 2 was better than Part 1 as a comic book movie. Part one was the Tyler Perry movie of Marvel. It should have been called Black Panther Family Affair. This guy.
The last part is funny as hell.
It also depends on your age because people younger than me had cartoons with the Black Panther in it. But for me, if you didn't read comic books, then Black Panther wasn't popular at all. But Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor was planning, and the phase 1, 2, and 3. I definitely agree with that. And Tony agrees that Black Panther was whack when it came to the comics coming out. So for me, I feel like this is a great transition to our next conversation, which is the future of Marvel and the MCU, because I do agree. And I've been saying this for a while, Big Mike and everybody. I've been saying that we were going to have comic book fatigue. Number one. Number two, Kevin Feige is being stretched too thin. You can't, and they're trying to apply his mastery to Star Wars, and they're teetering a little bit. And he has to be hands-on in order for it to work, in my opinion. So the fact that you don't have that recipe, which we had in phase 1, 2, and 3, I feel like you're kind of handing it off to the new Avengers, pun absolutely intended, and they're not there yet to carry the audiences. And that's really my third point. I feel like these new heroes aren't really grasping your diehard comic book fans or your comic verse type of film type of fan as much as they were before. So until you have, I feel like right now the youngest one that could really carry it would be Tom Holland, of course, as Peter Parker. But besides that, I don't know. And I'm just gonna go by what the head of Disney, CEO Bob Iger, what he said and what his thoughts were. And I'll put it up on the screen for everybody. Bob has questioned the need to keep returning the existing MCU characters rather than introducing new characters. Sequels typically work well for us. Do you need a third or fourth, or is it time to turn to other characters? So I think that's exactly where the MCU is. They're at an impasse. You have to go to new characters because all your current characters are getting old, right? And you don't want all of them looking like Mark Hamill and Mando, right? Because you don't want to have to use that technology, the de-aging technology. So you kind of do have to transition to new characters. But if the new characters aren't hitting, what exactly are you going to do? Are you going to, as Mike said, maybe de-invest a little bit from TV and reinvest into the films again, because that's where the most of the money is? But at the same time, it's a business, and subscribers probably pay more money over time. But that's just me.
I can answer your question.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, guys, but I'm gonna have to get off the phone in a minute. But to answer your question and to try to do my best with your multifaceted hating, I would say that Marvel's future isn't as bright as you would think, narrative-wise today, but it's a shit ton brighter than DC's.
Okay.
What could have made Marvel's light shine brighter than ever would be the splitting of their film and television divisions, right? And maybe Feige takes one and James Gunn takes the other, right? I think that the best thing that they had was James Gunn and Taika Waititi, right? But Taika didn't take the Thor flop like a sport, right? I probably haven't seen a worse sport in recent movie history, right? But between those two guys, they should have split the two divisions. And I don't think that it's too late for them to do it, but I don't know if there's a director or a show runner that we are aware of that has the talent to just slightly adjust. I don't think they have to put anything back on track. That would be an overstatement. But it would be a slight adjustment. Just because, these properties overall are beginning to lose steam. They're beginning to lose focus. We're beginning to become, exhausted, right? I think that moving forward, if they give us some version of that, we'll be okay. I think that's the only answer I got for you guys.
See, I like the multiverse. Like, I think they can still use the characters that they've been had. I want to see like a different version of King. Like in what is it? On the TV show. What was it? Multiverse Madness. What was it on the TV show where they had the characters doing different stuff?
Moon Knight?
No, the cartoons. The What If.
Oh yeah, What If?
I didn't like the storylines they had for those characters, but I'm excited for the multiverse because they can bring back characters that we know and make us fall in love with a whole nother version of them.
Right. I'm saying that's all they got.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm so okay with that. Like, I'm so okay with that.
Let me ask you a question, Josh, before I answer my question about Marvel. How much do you blame Feige from a business sense to not having somebody already?
A contingency plan, absolutely. And maybe to my cousin's point, to Jay's point, maybe it was James Gunn, but he wanted to have his own team. He wanted to do it Kyrie. I want to go run my own shit, and I respect that.
I don't think that's what happened with James Gunn. I think James Gunn didn't appreciate the way that he was left out the dry.
Yeah, he's fired at first. Remember? Yeah.
They fired him.
Right.
And the entire Guardians of the Galaxy staff, not just the actors, but the entire staff, right? They all laid down on their wages until he came back, right? But at which point he came back, he had already put in motion the best shit that DC has had since Christopher Nolan, right? And if I'm being completely honest with you, I know my cuz might spontaneously combust once he hears this statement, but dare I say that James Gunn and what he put his fingerprints on, he did a better job than Christopher Nolan did.
Nah, hell no.
On what specifically? Out of curiosity.
Hold on one second. The grittiness of Batman has existed in the comic books since the Night of Owl, either the Night or the Court of Owls storyline, right? That grittiness has existed. The humanizing of these characters really has existed, right? You don't know who the fuck the Suicide Squad is, right? The best thing that they had as a representation of the Suicide Squad was the cartoon. And that's the one that really got the ball rolling for them and the Suicide Squad. They attempted to do the Suicide Squad before, and it was the shittiest thing in the world. Just imagine how dope James Gunn has to be that a major movie studio who had already invested the better part of $250 million into the launching of a new product. Once that product flops, this nigga walks in less than 5 years later, says, I want that. I can make it better. And they greenlight another $100 million budget for the shit to end up going straight to the fucking streaming service. And then the shit completely reinvigorates or brings renewed interest into a crumbling fucking empire that they had. Can you imagine how dope this nigga James Gunn has to be to get all of that off?
A lot of leverage, absolutely.
I mean, the gun is dope, but it ain't Dark Knight, bro. It's hard to tell you, like,
bro. I'm not comparing the finished products, right? I'm not at all comparing the finished products. But at least with the Dark Knight, by the time you got to the Dark Knight, you knew exactly what you were going to get. This man took the most out there property that they had and made that shit dope.
And you really think about it, though. If you think about it, he did the same thing with the Guardians. Nobody knew what the fuck the Guardians were before James Gunn got them.
Exactly, right? Then he took the most laughable character, or one of the top 3 most laughable characters in the history of comic books, and made one of the dopest fucking shows
Oh,
to
I love that
stream
show.
last year.
I love Peacemaker. It's so good.
Bro. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but there's a reason why James Gunn got the job offer and accepted the job, and there's a reason why Christopher Nolan has kind of moonwalked back from superhero narratives, at least, and started putting out corny fucking movies.
That's Josh's guy. You calm down.
By the way, cuz sidebar, do you think Christopher Nolan would make a great James Bond film? Because supposedly he wants to direct at least 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises are not good barometers for how dope.
Cliffhanger. Cuz come back to Earth. You're
I'll answer my question about Marvel. Why he coming back? Something he said earlier I disagree with. I think X-Men has tons of stories. And I think once that drops after the Kang Dynasty, they're going to spend lots of time on different X-Men movies and shows. If you watch that 90s cartoon, that shit ran for like 100 episodes, bro. It was so many different interweaving storylines. It's like a soap opera or some shit like that. So I think,
and didn't they say they were going to base it off of that specific storyline
right,
too?
right.
The 90s,
And
right?
that's why they're doing a cartoon, bringing it back with X-Men 97 to start right from when the last cartoon ended. Like, I suggest you and Chloé, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but go back and watch that 90s cartoon. Like, that's great animated
It's
stuff.
on Disney Plus, right?
It's on Disney Plus. All 100 episodes on it right now.
Okay.
It's on Disney Plus.
It is so good. He knows it. Jay knows it. So, and then I think Fantastic Four, when it finally comes, can also help save them. But anything in between, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm rooting for Guardians. I think the Marvel's gonna be trash. I think I'm sorry, I do. Like, I really do. I think that I'm rooting for Shorty, the black Shorty.
Riri Williams?
Yeah. No. In the Marvel. No, Tatiana. What's her name? Spectrum. The one who was in WandaVision. Black chick.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with her in the Marvels, stuff like that. Tiana Paris, her real name is. And then
Janelle
Blade.
Monáe as Storm.
Blade, we got to see how they can do as far as like the R-rated for Disney or make R-rated or not. I think what's his name? The Merc with the mask, the Deadpool. Deadpool got an audience, so it's going to do well because Deadpool has his own audience already from Fox. But Deadpool movies, like Part 2, was it great? No, but he got an audience, so he going to hit. And people like Ryan Reynolds, stuff like that. So they're here for that reason. But even with that said, I think I'm not going to really have that great feeling until we get to that Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, and then moving forward with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four stories. I feel like Riri. Oh man, we'll get to Wakanda Forever. We'll get to Riri later on, but it's like that. But as far as Marvel, they got to cut down the projects. Take down like 4 a year, 2 movies, 2 TV shows. That's it, and then put your time into that stuff. And I feel like then you can kind of make better products. And I feel like that just get better writers. To me, it'd be the script sometimes. Honestly, not even just like I don't know. I think the writing has been bad lately for Marvel. A lot of different ways. So for me, that's what I would say about the state of Marvel. I don't think. I mean, Ant-Man, low key, Ant-Man kind of is like rock bottom because it's like it ain't making no money. like it's getting beat out in like its 3rd week by like Cocaine Bear or like just random movies and shit like that. Look, it's not like making great money. So I feel like it's like it might be rock bottom. I feel like Guardians gonna bring it back up. But I do feel like that they're taking a step back, like what's his name? Bob Iger and Feige are saying It is best path forward. I think they should scrap the whole Young Avengers because nobody gonna watch that shit. Okay, and just keep those Young Avengers within the movies. Then don't give them their own movie, and because that's not gonna be a box office darling at all. I think that just because like okay, Miss Marvel was the worst shit I ever seen on TV. Almost like that was the worst.
It was
Oh my god, it was so bad. It just like drove me nuts, and it never got good. And I could name 15 things wrong with that show off the top of my head, but I feel like that they got to just, like I said, just streamline, do less projects, and focus more on the ones you're doing. And that's in any business sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't wear too many hats. It is what it is. So,
I think in addition to hats, I think it's mostly they're trying to appease every single demographic in the world.
that too. Chloe, that too. I agree with that too.
It's like really, like I get it, but really, like, and it's just like, and the thing about it is when they're appeasing these different demographics, it's no storyline behind it. It's just like they're just plopping people in there that look a certain way or do or have a specific viewpoint, and they're not even expanding upon their character.
Right. Like Miss Marvel, for example, did we need the fucking Pakistani wedding on top of the trip to Pakistan that really served no purpose for the narrative of the show? It's like you're trying to like I said, appease the demographic at that point.
And I think that everyone should. I think that Marvel should be a reflection of the world, but it needs to be more intentional. It needs to be more like thought out.
Well, yes, less
It needs to be more
agendas.
natural to me.
Natural. That's what I meant. Intentional, like natural.
Yeah, less
Natural.
agendas. Agendas are not natural. They just serve a purpose. Having buzzwords or buzz terms, or as Chloe was saying, being all inclusive, which again we do want to see, but at least make it make sense. As Mike talked about, give us the quality, not the quantity. It's always going to be better with the quality, and then that makes your cliffhangers even more powerful. That's what made Game of Thrones one of the best shows on TV, because they had powerful cliffhangers and storylines that you cared about. And that's what Marvel did great in phases 1 to 3. That's just me.
I agree.
And I feel like that they almost treat us like we're stupid. Like they put anything out. Like they're gonna love this. But I'm like, no, we still can listen to the script and watch these shows. Like this don't make sense, bro. You know what I mean? But it's almost like I'm like, it got to be a person there who's editing or looking at stuff like, yeah, this don't make sense. But I feel like that they treat us like we're little kids, something like that. It's certain projects.
Honestly, I think that was Bob Chapek's approach. I don't think that's Bob Iger's approach. Personally.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't think it's his approach either. But I just feel like that when I see certain things, even I don't know, like No Way Home was I think No Way Home was good. Was a good to great movie, almost great. But a lot of that was because of the old Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man villains and Spider-Man in the movie and stuff like that. But beyond that, it's like I haven't seen great movie yet. Show Loki, yes, Loki was great. But a great movie, it's been a while since Avengers, I'd say.
You didn't like, was it your favorite movie, the Dragon movie, the 5 Rings, 10 Rings?
Oh yeah, Shang-Chi was great. Yeah, okay, I saw one great movie.
See, that's how I know it wasn't great.
Shang-Chi was good. It was great. It was good to
Oh, now it's great. Now it's great.
I like Shang-Chi. But you know why I like Shang-Chi? Let me tell you why a little bit. Because it was something different than what some of the formulaic stuff that Marvel has done. Stuff like that. Like that's a lot why I like. But Shang-Chi got stupid too with the damn little the actor dude, Trevor, and all that stuff, you know, and little bear. So it's a lot. It's like, yo, why are you doing this stuff? Like you have something quality. Just go for it. And even Josh, like Kamala Khan is not a mutant. She's a freaking what is she? In the comic book, in the cartoon. She's a
No. She's a what's it called? I know you're talking about a
Jinn?
No, hell no. They made that shit up too. They know that Jinn.
No. It's a type of.
Oh, what am I thinking about? Oh, well, anyway,
it's not a mutant. It's a
no
superhero.
I know. I can't think of it right now.
Wow.
It's just the one moment with the hair chick and all the rest, and the guy that screams, and he was the dude in and Doctor Strange, the one who when he screams he kills you. Black Bolt and the what do they call it? Anyway, that's not the point. She's that in that group. She's not a mutant, so they making her a mutant, which gonna be crazy because like it ain't gonna make a lot of narrative sense.
Oh, there we
I
go.
can't wait.
Inhuman.
She's inhuman. Yeah, she's inhuman. They got their own thing, their own origin story, their own family, their own royal family, all this type of stuff. So to make her now a mutant is like, okay, why? You know what I'm saying? We'll see why later on.
She was inhuman, and they just said she was inhuman, so that was the cliffhanger.
What's that?
They never said specifically like you are a mutant.
No, they said
your genes are different.
They're mutated.
He said your genes are mutated, so that could
Which
be
is
inhuman.
They played the X-Men song when he said that shit.
From the 90s.
From the 90s. Yeah.
That might be a punk thing.
Oh, misdirect. Okay. All right.
Now I know. Chloe didn't know the X-Men song because she didn't watch this cartoon from the 90s. Now it makes sense.
I watched the X-Men, but I'm a 90s baby.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock every day on Fox 5. I like the X-Men. Everybody like the X-Men, but I don't know. I think that we just gonna have to let them do what they want to do. Like
I'm gonna watch everything. I'm hoping to get the feeling back I used to have. I'm hoping Guardians in my top 10 movies. So hoping Guardians 3 does it for me, honestly. So
but to me, this is my acceptance. And I've been saying this for a while. I always felt that they peaked.
Yep.
At the end of Endgame. So going forward, I had to lower my expectations, and I did.
Also, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I was just saying I was lowering my expectations going into Quantumania, and after lowering my expectations, let's say giving it a curve, since we have our educator here, that's why I gave it a 9, because I lowered my expectations. I understood what they were trying to do, and I see what they're going to going forward. They're going to focus on what puts fans in the seats, so like your casual fan, because that's where the most money is, as everyone literally saying, and I agree, from Tony in the comments to Jay to Big Mike to Chloe, they're trying to appease everybody. They're casting the wide net as opposed to being a sniper, and we're seeing the result.
Well, 2 things. One, are you really appeasing the casual fan? Because like I was arguing with Dave in the other chat, and you didn't see this, Chloe, but if you're not a regular fan and you didn't watch Loki, but now you watch Ant-Man, you're like, who is this dude?
Yeah,
and why is he important?
And that's why so initially when I left Ant-Man, I gave it like a 9. Me and Josh talked about it in the car, but like after watching videos, because I do my deep dives on like shout out to New Rock Stars and shout out to
Eric.
What's Eric Bond and then Boss, and then there's another one I watched, Screen Crush.
Okay.
But after watching that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't a great movie by itself. Because if I didn't watch Loki, I'd be like, who the hell is this guy? Like,
right.
And then they didn't really introduce him, and to Jason's point, they didn't introduce him as like this huge, big bad like they did with Thanos. But then someone on one of the shows made a point. They were like, well, the first time they introduced Thanos, it wasn't really a big deal either. It was like he was at the end clip and he's just sitting there and he says something. So I think that the next movie is going to be crazy. And then you also have to remember, like, Jonathan Majors probably signed a deal for like 20 years or something, because there's so many different versions of King. So I feel like they didn't spend that much time introducing him how we expected it to, because there's so many different variants that we're going to get to know.
Yeah, I honestly, going into that, watching Quantumania, it reminded me a lot of Moon Knight. And how Jonathan Majors is really going to have to show his range with all those different Kangs. So
I think he'll be in probably like 6 or 7 projects. To your point,
probably 10, probably 20. You see all them Kings in that room?
Thousands, hundreds of thousands.
They're probably ended after the Kang Dynasty and move to X-Men.
I don't think so. I think not. I think that he who remains, where it's going to come full circle. He who remains, I feel like, is the King that got sucked into that little in the Ant-Man. I think the Ant-Man the King that we saw, is the one that is he who remains.
Okay.
Because he got sucked. They thought he was dead. Like, oh, Ant-Man killed him. But then it was like, nah, he didn't kill him, but he got sucked into an even smaller vortex, which was the vortex where it was the infinite possibility realm. So if he's stuck in there, that only makes sense that he's he who remains.
I hear you,
Because then
Chloe,
he
but
could build the ultimate timeline.
there's some more people who are more powerful than Kang they got to still do. So, comic wise,
Wait, say that again.
huh?
Say that again.
There's some villains, like big villains, big bads, that are even more powerful than Kang they got to do. So I feel like Kang's journey will end at like the Kang Dynasty, or maybe Secret Wars, I guess,
I
stuff
don't
like
think
that.
so. I think that the people that you're talking about is gonna be like 20 years from now.
Okay. Well, my
Because
other
like
thing.
if they do all the big bads, like it's only so many that they can go off of source material, so they gotta make this stretch forever.
Okay, well, you got a point. My other thing was we didn't mention it, and you kind of touched on it, Josh, with the new people, but the leaders, right? The Cap and Iron Man. That's another problem they got. Who is the leader right now? The leader of the pack?
Hey, the new Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
He said he don't want. What did he say? I mean, Mackie said something about like he can't be it because he don't have powers, so he can't be the leader and stuff like that.
But in terms of leadership skills, as of right now, he's really the only one who has it. The next one who got the baton passed to them anyway by way of the glasses, the Stark Industry glasses, is Tom Holland, Peter Parker.
Is he not too young to be a leader?
Nah, I mean, sometimes when you have your younger Avengers, Peter Parker would be the perfect person to go to for mentorship, because he was literally there at your age, and he was an Avenger. He was in high school and doing all those things. So you're probably going to listen to him, like Lord of the Flies. You're going to listen to the younger person, probably a little bit more.
Okay. What about you, Chloe? You agree with that for the next leaders?
I think the next leaders. I mean, what I see them setting up to be is going to be like Miss Marvel, right? The older one.
Yeah, Miss Marvel. Yeah.
So
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Who's a badass? I like her. Captain Marvel. I think they're going to have Mackie. I think they're going to have Spider-Man, of course. They're going to have Ching-Chi. They're gonna have
which means also Wong and Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah, Doctor Strange is definitely a Avenger, but he also has the third eye now, so he got a little bit of the Darkhold in him. I think Wanda, she might make a special appearance. We also have to remember about what's his name, Vision.
Oh yeah, the new Vision. But to my cousin's point, and how he didn't see Fantastic Four, this is where I see it. You see it with Kang, because if he's a descendant of Reed Richards, right? Mm-hmm. And they also brought up the mutant. Now, agree or disagree how they did it. I guess this is a creative license to do it, because each universe or multiverse is their own. We're in was it 616? Mm-hmm. Is the MCU one? So maybe in the 616, this is how mutants emerge, and then you get to have it in there with Reed Richards and the X-Men. And then that's how you incorporate people like Doctor Doom and, of course, the Fantastic Four. So I think Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, he's a great leader as well. He's probably one of the smartest beings in the storyline.
He is the smartest in like the world. But so Kang is Kang. Like Majors is going to be great as the villain, right, throughout the whole thing. But of the people you guys named, are they as...
Oh, and the Hulk too. The Hulk is still around.
Right, but are they as polarizing as, let's say, Cap and Tony? Like,
no, they do not have the gravitas. I know we all love that word. They do not have the on-screen presence as any of those actors or characters.
And Black Panther, y'all forgot about
Black Panther.
It depends what they do with that, because having M'Baku, Winston Duke, as the king of Wakanda, but not the Black Panther, even though he should have, he has the physique to do it. Like, why not give him the herb? Right, but sure, he's going to be the Black Panther
for now until the sun grows up.
Well, I'm going to talk about that movie, so I'll give my thoughts on that in a second. We'll get to that. I just feel like that. My point was, I feel like not having those two and losing them at the same time is a big problem.
Not really, and Thor's around. Like I feel like y'all are really big.
Thor's a comedian right now, bro.
Let me say this: y'all are stuck on Captain America. I don't care about Captain America. I don't care about Tony Stark because his tech is around now. Like, all somebody got to do is put the suit on.
I
just feel like I feel like the baton has been passed the way that they passed it, and now Maybe Tony Stark comes back in a different multiverses. Maybe we run into him.
I mean, that's definitely happening. That's already in the contract, so we already know that.
But I'm like, whatever. I just don't like the Teen Marvels. I think that's a little stupid to me. But I would be okay with Miss Marvel. I'd be okay. Oh, we still got the Archer dude. He got into an accident, never went.
Hawkeye.
Okay.
He almost died. He got hit by like a snowball or something.
Yeah.
He broke all his bones, but he's still alive. Yeah. So maybe he comes. I don't think that. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But it's enough of them. It's enough of them to make it go. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all didn't really care about those characters until the movies happened, and I think that they're going to use the movies to make us fall in love with people.
They're going to have to, because right now they're not hitting no. They're not hitting no. They're not making no numbers. The numbers are that's all they. The numbers are what matters, right? They're not selling tickets. That's what it is. So.
And what's his name, Mackie? I'm not a fan of him for. I didn't really like that series. Y'all loved it. It was.
I didn't love it.
I thought y'all loved it. Y'all didn't like
that was Tony. I don't know about Josh, but I didn't love it. I was a lot I didn't like about it, honestly. I don't like Mackie. Like as a black person, I've seen Mackie, play Tupac and play, and get beat by B-Rabbit and run up, and 8 Mile. Like I can't see him as like this Captain America now. I just don't do it for me. I'm sorry. So
I wanted someone stronger.
Typecast strikes again, huh, Miguel?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's just like, okay, I feel like his movie can work as long as the people around him are dope. Whoever's working with him and the villain, right? So Captain America 4 can work only with that caveat.
They need Idris Elba somewhere. Yeah.
They just need to have a great villain and a great partner for him.
For the Rock.
Maybe even a love interest, like a black chick or something like that. I think that'll work some kind of way.
Oh, what about who you were talking about from WandaVision?
Tiana Paris. Yeah, I like her though, but I don't know. I just think
who else you got?
It's a Mackie issue, bro. I don't know how to play it. Like, you like Mackie?
I get it. He's alright. Like,
not about Josh. I don't like Mackie.
I get what you're saying. I don't like him as Captain.
I don't mind.
Okay.
But also, this is why I'm giving him that grace, because this is what Captain America wanted. He made that choice for us.
Yeah.
So I at least have to, from Cap's merit, pun absolutely intended, I at least have to give him a chance.
I'm gonna watch this movie, bro. I'm gonna go back to what Chloé said. I get what you're saying about we got to move on. I just feel like they need. Okay, here's what I want to say. If they're going to do it, they got to give somebody that baton and say, okay, you're the leader, right?
I feel like that's Doctor Strange though, by default.
It's Doctor Strange because he's
whoever it is. They got to make sure it's de facto.
Yeah, no. To me, in my opinion, this is why Doctor Strange and the Multiverse came first. I feel like he is the de facto when it comes to actually understanding the concept of the multiverse, actually existing in it daily, and being able to describe that to everyone else. Okay. He understands the magnitude of every decision.
Okay. Well, we'll move forward. We'll see how it's gonna be. I'm watching regardless. So
I just can't wait for Tom Hiddleston and Benedict Cumberbatch to have a scene together, because that's where I feel like is really going to tie everything together with Doctor Strange and the variant Loki, so he can give Doctor Strange the context of everything that Loki's seen and be like, okay, this is what we need to do.
Listen, Loki season 2 gonna be dope as hell. I can't wait for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, I feel like that is an issue because you're more excited about the next TV show than the next movie.
It's true. It's true, bro. Like, I just don't. You know what else I'm looking forward to? I mentioned. I'm sorry, Thunderbolts. I think I want to see too, only because I like the team they put together for that, and I like the Yelena. I fucking love Yelena. I ain't gonna lie, I like her, and I like
Florence Pugh, right?
Yeah, Florence Pugh, and I like the Winter Soldier, of course. Bucky, that's my guy. So I like that.
Wouldn't Bucky be Captain's partner?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bucky and Thunderbolts. I think he's supposed to be a leader of Thunderbolts actually in this movie. So
Oh, okay. What were you about to say, Chloe?
I was gonna say, like, of course we like the shows better because it's with 12 hours of content versus 2 hours. I think that's the problem. I think that because they're able to like spread out all this information over like 12 hours of content, it makes us more invested than you can't really tell that story in an hour, 2 hours in the movie. You really can't. And I feel like they're trying to do the same thing, but it's like once they change to that format of TV show and we're used to like diving deep into these characters, because it's 10 hours of content or
you just
12 hours
can't
of
waste.
content.
You just can't waste episodes like Miss Marvel did or like She-Hulk did to me personally. So.
She-Hulk wasn't really. I see, and I look at She-Hulk like they didn't really waste any episodes because that whole season was a waste. Like I don't know. Like I think that was just viewership. Like just something to watch and giggle at.
That was for the people who aren't in typical Marvel demographics.
Yeah.
The ladies. That was for the ladies, the professional ladies. That was it.
Yeah.
That demographic is totally sold on her.
I think we're expecting every single piece of content to push along the storyline. And I think that's where we're mistaken.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, sometimes you can't go back where you were, and it just is what it is. I feel like take it for what it is right now. So.
Absolutely. And as we transition to the next topic, which is because we never got to talk about it, we've long awaited Chloe's thoughts on Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. Okay.
Is it forever? It was forever. It's like, nah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Like, I don't even know. Okay, so we rewatched it at home. I think I appreciated it more at home than in the movie theaters. Like the second time, my second watch was better than the first watch. The first one, I was kind of mad when I left the theater. Like, I was really mad. I was like, what the heck did I just watch? Like, this ain't about Black Panther. And, people get wrapped up in the whole emotional aspect of it, which it was emotional. But, like, if they didn't have that, it would have just been a movie about Namor. Like, it wasn't the Black Panther. I'm like, what did we find out? We found out he had some love child with this woman. They're not even married, which to me is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hidden the whole movie. And then we were watching Namor. Like, I thought that the Namor part was really dope. Like, I love underwater stuff. Like, I'm obsessed with the ocean. And I thought that the visual graphics were awesome. I think Namor was a really good character. I feel like they dropped the ball because they didn't really go into his love interest with Shuri. And I think that would have made the movie better. I think they dropped the ball. Like, the editing sucked. Like, they should have edited other parts to the storyline, which would have made me more invested. Because it was, like, a lot of random stuff happening. Like, mad random stuff. Like, oh, why was she went down there to see him. Did they fall in love? Did they not fall in love? Now they're enemies, but then he killed her mom. Like, it just was a lot of stuff happening.
Wait, what were they falling in love? I didn't see them falling in love.
They're supposed to have fall. That was the part that was missing. That would have made the connection happen. But it was, so apparently they filmed that part and they cut it out.
Oh, okay.
Which would have made more sense why there was like this like connection between them. Because remember,
undertone.
It was like a relationship undertone.
Romance.
Like they should have expounded upon that story. Like, oh, she's risking all of this because they're in love. But they didn't even touch on that. And then the chick from MIT was
Riri Williams.
Riri was aggy. Like, I feel so sorry that I don't like her character because she's a young Black actress, but she was irky the whole movie.
Yes.
And then your mom dies saving some outsider. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
It made no sense. Angela Bassett died for some random shit.
She actually said she was confused by the writing as well.
Yeah, that's what the heck. Why would they kill her off? They should have killed Riri off.
Well, she got a show coming. That's why, Riri.
It was stupid. Like, you just made some Iron Man costume, and now all of a sudden you're like a part of the game. Like, and then I'm like, they're risking a whole. First of all, okay, the part that I didn't understand was why kill her if the technology is already out there. That to me was like a foul misstep. Like, you're going to kill this little girl who made this project, but she didn't actually make it. And if you kill her, the project plans are still out there. So the technology don't disappear.
So, I'm sorry, you done, Chloe?
Yeah. That's all I
If you
got
gotta
to
come
say.
back, you can come back, of course. First of all, let me start with I thought Ross was useless in this movie, and then we brought him
Yeah.
back because in the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
he was useless. That's number one.
Yeah.
And it was like, we got to put a white guy in here. I don't know. It just made no sense to me. Something like that. I want to say one thing. Angela Bassett, she did get robbed of the Oscar though. Like, she was good in the role, and I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she was better than Jamie Lee in that movie. So I love her. I love that movie too. But she did get robbed. That's number one. But she kind of saved the movie to me, Angela Bassett. Besides, that would have been even worse. It's just like, I do agree with you. Like, it was more of a Namor movie than a Black Panther movie. They would have been better just recasting at this point. What you said about what's the girl,
Riri?
no, the wife, not the wife, the girlfriend with the baby mama, basically.
Nakia.
Yeah. No,
Lupita
Nakia.
Luongo.
Yeah, they made Nakia a baby mama.
Exactly.
Bad and stuff like that. And then they said he sent them to Haiti to live because he's worried about somebody breaking into Wakanda. They gonna just leave his child? Like, I don't see T'Challa doing that. I'm sorry. Like, that's just not what I see happening. I feel like he would have been with his child. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, like she said, he sent them there before he died.
Because he didn't want, if anything happened to him, he didn't want him to have to take the burden on becoming a king at such a young age.
Right. So I didn't like that. And apparently, like, in another version, she had like another husband already, or another boy or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, that's not cool to me either. Also, like, if he sent them away, like, they just hide. He ain't tell his mother, his sister. Nobody know where the fuck
The
she is.
mother knew.
Oh, the mother and the sister didn't know. That's right. Shuri didn't know.
Shuri didn't know, but why wouldn't she know?
Right. Why would she know she had a nephew at all? Like, period.
Stupid. It was stupid. And then, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you. I just thought
Go ahead.
the movie started off great to me because I thought it was going to be about Black Panther versus the colonizers. They start this whole storyline going to the embassy, to the United Nations situation. That part was amazing. She's like, yeah, y'all, if y'all come in our land again, it's going to be some problems. And then all of a sudden, the white people are off the hook.
Yep, that too.
Like, and then now it's Wakanda versus versus the Aztec people. Like, where's the white people at all of this? Like, y'all got a common enemy, but y'all fighting with each other. That made no sense to me, but that's historically what they've been able to do. So it's kind of like, I thought the movie, because it's a Black Panther movie and they want to be woke, why y'all not being all the way woke?
I agree. I think that was a problem for me.
Yeah.
What Josh said about M'Baku, it's like they didn't give us enough of M'Baku. He was in the movie, but it's like, first of all, they had him get chipped by Namor real quick, and then
right, like, he's not a grown man warrior fighter. Like,
but Neymar does have superpowers. Come on now.
I get it, but
the other chick was actually got down with him a little bit.
And they should have let M'Baku at least like fight other people first. Then make him look good first. Make him look bad. Like, he jump in there, boom, you get chipped. That's it. Like, come on, man, I wasn't doing that at all. But then Shuri, who's 110 pounds and never had any training at all, beats him. Now, granted, she had the suit on, but she ain't got no fucking training. How does she learn how to do all these stuff? Like, that bothered me too, man.
Well, she's supposed to have had training because she's the princess. But I agree. I agree. He shouldn't have got chipped that quick. Ain't no way you a Wakandian. Because
that's the other part too. That, like, for Black people, this is make it like more full circle. For Black people, the first Black Panther made us feel great because it's like, yo, we got our own, even though it's a movie fictional, but we got our own country with this special vibranium that nobody else has. Now it's like everybody got vibranium. You get vibranium. You get vibranium. That's got vibranium. That's got vibranium. It's like Oprah gave it away. It's like ridiculous. Like, that made it not as unique and special. If those Mexicans or Aztecs got a whole underwater city full of vibranium now. So it's like, who don't got vibranium? It's like, I don't know. It's just violent.
Even though it was the battle of the hidden societies.
I mean, even though that, but I think as a Black person, you like that being special in that way, and I also feel like that. I feel like when you scramble to rewrite and recast, but this is what you get. I'm not recast, but scramble to rewrite a whole movie. This is what you get, and I feel like that. Shuri was not the best choice. She don't even really want it. Like, she ain't it. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
and it made her. Did you notice they made her look mad manly?
They did. Well, yeah, they did.
Like, she looked like a dude now. Like, she looked like a dude in the first movie.
Nah.
Like, oh, you gotta be a dude to be the Black Panther, but you're a woman, so it counts. Like, she can't be any type of feminine. And that's why I'm like, Dad, they could at least have her have a love interest. Like, it's like women can't fall in love with men anymore on TV. Like,
no, because they cut out the whole love part between Ayo and the other chick who was in the other part of the Dora Milaje. What's her name?
Okoye.
The chick
from
no,
the new one who was with the blue outfit.
Oh yeah, that ugly outfit.
Right. Well, they apparently her and Ayo, the other chick, are a couple, but they cut that part out.
No, they talked about it. They did it at the end.
Oh, they did? Okay, I missed that part.
They had it with Okoye.
Yeah.
No, not Okoye.
Wait, didn't Okoye have a husband at one point?
Yeah, Okoye got a husband. I'm not talking about Ayo, the other one, other bald one who was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's Ayo, and she was and she's with the new chick, the one who's from the Midnight. What do they call it? The Midnight Express. What do they call? Who had the blue outfits?
The one who has the thing instead of the spear.
Yeah. Remember, she was in an episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. She the one who gave Bucky the stuff to give to Sam and stuff like that. She's been in all the movies. She was even in Civil War. She's the one who was standing in front of Natasha, like we could do this right now. That's Ayo. She's been around the whole time, but she don't get as many lines as Okoye though.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're love interests together. They're like with each other.
Who?
Okoye and that chick.
No, Okoye got the husband who's in jail.
No, before she had the husband that was in jail, and at the end of the Black Panther, her and the chick, they together now.
Yeah, I got you.
Because they threw that in there, and I was like, y'all didn't even give no backstory. Y'all just now all of a sudden they together. Like, I don't know. It was just a lot of plot holes. And then I'm like, when the Wakandans went to go fight the Namor people, why would you do it in the water?
That too.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then they were able to come in and mess up Wakanda. Like, it just. And then did you notice his son had a list?
I didn't notice that.
It was the funniest thing to me because I'm like, when he was talking, I was like, no, they didn't make Mike Tyson and his son. And
killing Angela. What's her name? Angela. Yeah, Angela was wrong.
It just was a lot. It was a lot. Like okay, what can I say that was positive? I liked the costumes, but I couldn't appreciate them in the movie. I liked them better when I watched them at home. The soundtrack was really good. The visual effects were really nice.
All the way from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. And that's about it. Like,
Namor was dope himself, though. He was dope.
He was dope.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? You ain't said much about the movie. What you thought?
Oh, yeah. So for me, because I managed my expectations. So because I knew what time it was in the MCU, aka the MCU, I understood what time it was. So for me, I gave it a 9 because I lowered my expectations. We already knew Shuri was going to be Black Panther, even though I vehemently disagree, and you were correct. Killmonger was a Force ghost.
I told you.
In the ancestral plane. But again, that was a stupid idea. However, it gives me hope because of the multiverse that we'll see Killmonger and Kang either on adventures together or battling each other in the future. So I'm okay with that. But besides that, I was surprised how much was focused on Namor. So I thought that was interesting because to Chloe's point, this whole time, it wasn't a Black Panther 2 movie. It reminded me of like Mando and Boba Fett. And Boba Fett, and it's just a total crossover. And it seems like that's like a go-to move, like a sky hook at Disney right now. Like everyone's doing that. Even though this is the headline, you can come in here and get all the show. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me.
They just did that on Mando episode 3. If you think about it, but we'll talk about that another time. So.
Exactly, and that's exactly how that was. So for me, I still got to give it to Ryan Coogler because the fact that you have to rewrite everything and to make it financially viable, because it is Disney at the end of the day. This is your professional relationship at the end of the day. So even though he had to make some decisions that didn't make us happy as a whole, he made some decisions that would garner the most profit based upon what he had. So that's why I admire it, and from that lens.
I think moving forward, first of all, I'm always gonna be mad we never got T'Challa like as an actual Avenger, because that bothers me. Because I like seeing him in the Avengers life mansion, whatever you want to call it. But I think now that old boy kind of fell off a little bit, Denzel's son, John David Washington, he not as hot as he was. They should offer him the role to play T'Challa moving forward. I think that's the recast this time, like multiverse or whatever. I think.
Wait! I thought you said they shouldn't recast.
They shouldn't. I said. You said.
That's what you said previously.
Yeah. That was previously.
So wait! Ho! Are you saying you're coming over to this side that it should be recast now?
I think they should recast now. I really do.
Wow! Look at that.
After watching Wakanda Forever, they need.
So you gonna make all of my points that I made against me? Really, Mike? Oh yeah. So yeah, you need a character like that to do all this. And
They need T'Challa, man. They need T'Challa. I'm sorry. And T'Challa could have been that leader we were talking about earlier. T'Challa could have been leader moving forward, or the Avengers or whatever.
Easily.
Yeah, so it's like sure he can't. I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy it. So,
but what I was excited about with Shuri and also Riri Williams, to be fair, was the fact that you were going to have another incredible intellect in the MCU. Now that Tony Stark is no longer here, they were going to carry
their intellect though. I think I don't know, she's written wrong for me or something like that. So. I mean, maybe I might wear her show, maybe if they give her more time to expand. But right now, I ain't really. Oh, she's let's go, woo! Shut up! Like she gets on my nerves. So.
She was. I think she just wasn't. She should have been in a different movie. They should have. I feel like they should have introduced Riri in a Disney Plus series, and then I feel like they should just introduce everybody on Disney Plus. Like, don't just introduce me as some new character in the movie, because I'm like, who the heck is this?
Well, to be fair, they could do that, and they've done that with Kang. So other people who haven't seen the show, they're still going to get that impact.
But because I invest my time and watch Disney Plus and pay that subscription, you need to introduce me to her at some point. She need to walk across the screen. She could have been in the hallway at the same high school or something, like anything. Like, don't just have some random person. That's like America Chavez. I'm like, who the heck is this? Like, who is this?
I forgot about her. God.
Yeah,
see, now it's so many characters now. It's crazy. I forgot about America Chavez.
Second person they introduced in a movie, and I'm like, who is this? Like, who are you, and why are you here? That's how I felt. I literally felt like that now, and I'm like, y'all got all this content on Disney Plus, and y'all didn't even show us them. That doesn't make sense to me. Now that part I was disappointed in.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ryan. I want to see Ryan do some stuff outside of the MCU now. I mean, I can see him getting Secret Wars. I think he'll do a good job on that. But I don't want to see just more stuff outside of the MCU right now. So.
And going forward, how do you guys think the Black Panther franchise will do?
It's hard, right? Because if Shuri had to go through this whole movie, right, and um this whole mental gymnastics to even take the mantle and take the herb and what it meant and how it felt. Can you now take it from her after one movie? You kind of let her have it because she still had to get it, and her mom died, and yada yada yada. So, but if you let her have it, I don't think like knowingly now, like we know for sure, Shuri the Black Panther. Are we gonna go pay to see her be the Black Panther like a lot? Like I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but I mean, I don't know how to do with her knowingly being the Black Panther. So.
Well, again, to get Disney's demographic that they want, let's just say for the sake, it's Black women, right? Will they come out in droves to support Shuri, especially modern Black women, to be Black Panther? And to have someone like Winston Duke to be her, essentially her queen, but as a king, you know?
What you think? You're modern Black woman club. What you think? That's this question.
I didn't even feel like they were women in that movie. Like it just was very masculine. Like I mean, there was a whole bunch of women there playing masculine roles, and that was something I had talked about with Josh. Like it just seemed like we can't even have fictional Black men that are like powerful. Like even in the fantasy world, it's still run by women. Like
No.
And then it's not just women who are feminine. Like this whole feminist movement, it's like you can't even be a girly feminine. Like it's like ostracization. That's the right word. You get ostracized if you're a feminine woman in that space. So it's like if it's going to be all women, it needs to be like a balance of different type of women. All women are not. Yeah, we could fight these men. We could do this and we could do that. Especially Black women. Like, come on. I'm over that.
Yes, you're right though, right? Because you look at even like Thor, they made Tessa Thompson like manly as hell as like the King Valkyrie.
Like, where's the feminine Black woman at? And then you had the one, what's her name, the baby mother,
Nakia.
Like, Nakia, why y'all made her a baby mother? Like y'all, because we Black, right? We gotta have baby mothers. We don't get married, even though they have tradition and everything else in Wakanda. Like what WTF? And it's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That he just knocked her up and then died.
No, he knocked her up, sent her off, and then he died.
And then died. Like, y'all got tradition in Wakanda. Like, it's not like some random situation. I mean, I didn't particularly care for the movie. Like, I love Black Panther because it showed you how strong and how proud our men are. The original one, and then this second one, it was like the absence of men. And
she got a point, Josh. When they do have women on screen, if you look at even Jane, right? Jane was all muscles and shit, and Thor, like they make them more masculine than feminine when they do give them those prominent roles and stuff like that. So, and if you look at Tessa Thompson from Valkyrie to like now how she is in Creed, she's like way more feminine. I know you guys didn't see Creed, but then in King Valkyrie, she's like a dude basically, like almost. So it's like a weird thing that they do with that. I don't know if it's like.
And then the woman that they do have that has a little bit of femininity, like what's Angelina Jolie? She was feminine in that movie.
Oh yeah, Eternals, yeah.
And Eternals, and it's like because she's not Black, like. Even Riri, like Riri was mad manly, and she like asked her out on a date at the end.
Yeah, basically. Like, and even in Captain Marvel, her friend, the Black chick, the one who played 007, she was kind of a little manly too, actually. Like that.
And the new chick that you talking about, Tessa, whatever is her name, Tessa. The chick in Marvel, in Invasion Wars, Secret Invasion Wars, and was in Wanda.
Yeah. Tiana Paris, yeah.
She seems
and 007.
Yeah, masculine.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't have any pretty, I'm pretty and I can fight. Like, ain't no way you're gonna have Scarlett Johansson jumping out of planes and stuff, and she looks like a woman, but you can't have a Black woman doing that. She gotta have a bald head. It's just It just don't make no sense to me. Like, we're supposed to be happy about it. Like, nah, I ain't happy about it. Marvel,
Marvel.
like, have more people on your diversity board who are not just strong Black women. Okay, what about Black women with husbands, or Black homemakers, or Black women who are models? Maybe, like, get your life. Talking about all this diversity stuff, but y'all not hitting all the quadrants.
I think a really good point.
That's
Well, I
my
didn't think about
rant.
it. No. It's a good point. I didn't think about it that way.
Oh,
When
and then, and then the only Black woman they got in there that's feminine is in her law office twerking.
oh yeah, Meg, yeah.
Meg the Stallion.
So we're gonna hit all the stereotypes today on Marvel.
But to be fair, that is the history of Disney. Disney is infamous for having caricature characters. And I'll have something that I actually sent to the Comic Cinema Crew chat that we have on WhatsApp, because Dave, a shout out to Dave, couldn't understand why someone like Chloé wouldn't like Black Panther too. And because Chloé didn't say this, and thank you, Chloé, for sharing your thoughts, because Chloé's been bottling this up for a while, so I appreciate you articulating that brilliantly. But this is the video that I sent to Dave to kind of summarize it.
So I just left seeing Wakanda Forever, and I'm pissed. I am pissed because if pushing an agenda was a movie, this would be in the forefront of that. This was Woman King on steroids. If you think that I'm gonna believe 100-pound Black woman soaking wet is just an almighty warrior and can just body dudes like it's no tomorrow, come on. Like, instead of Wakanda, it should have been called Where Are the Men? Because they was not there, they were not present, and the ones that was there was weak. But all the women that was in the movie was just brolic, built, strong Hercules. What is this saying to us? Perpetuating the idea of the strong Black woman and a subservient Black effeminate man. I just think it's disgusting. I'm completely upset by the movie. And man, if this Kyrie Irving didn't teach me anything, it's when you put your life career in the hands of other people that don't look like you, then they can make you do whatever they want you to do. And this movie does not represent what African culture is. It doesn't represent what our culture needs to be. So, nah, I'm good on Wakanda. Where all the men.
Oh, the men. I agree. I told you. Baku got chipped. He was looking weak. I don't know who was looking. No Black man was looking tough in that movie to me.
Because there were no Black men in the movie.
Right. That's true. You know?
Where were they? I told my mother that too. She didn't see it. I was like, it was stupid. Like, I think it just was. I mean, to go from the first Black Panther movie to this is just insulting.
Yeah. And if you look at and then don't and Baku got a whole tribe of dudes. Where the hell they was at? Like,
exactly my point. He's the strongest, he's the alpha male out of all the men in Wakanda, he's big enough to be king. But you can't defend your nation. The women have to defend the nation. Like,
I mean, he was part of the battle at the final scene of the first one.
Barely.
No.
I was like, this one, shoot.
The first one, him and his tribe, well, they were there.
Yeah,
and he was there at Infinity War.
That too, exactly.
Yeah.
And they survived. a lot of them survived. So, you know, it's like the Spartans of Wakanda.
And she mentioned the movie Woman King. Woman King was a good movie, but it was the same thing. A king
also has that character in there from 007.
It does. It was also manly in that too. Like that. You know, Lashana Lynch, her real name is. But also manly in that too. And it's a dude king, but the woman do all the work. He don't do nothing. It's just like that. He's weak and they fight for him. Same type of shit. Whatever. So.
Shout out to John Boyega. He might be the original Black Panther. I would love to see that as a Disney Plus series.
Oh yeah. I mean he's a dope actor, but it's like it's the same thing. And then it was like Wakanda Forever was like that on, like you said, like that on steroids, like a, like Woman King on steroids, basically.
But
So.
see, I thought the opposite, Mike. I thought that Woman King was Black Panther on steroids.
Well, Woman King is
Honestly.
well, the Black Panther women you're talking about, their idea came from the real life Woman King, stuff like that. That's why I said it
No,
that way.
it did not. You gotta look
It
at the
did.
history.
Huh?
Hold on. Tony Stark Jr. says, let's be real. Those women had to be depicted as if they could whoop some ass, right? So guys are getting into your feelings, your black feelings. Just saying, bro, if they wasn't manly looking, they wouldn't be believable. It's a movie. Tony saying, suspend your disbelief,
Well, Tony, what about your favorite Scarlett Johansson?
ScarJo.
I need to know what your thoughts are on that, because she don't look like a man to me. She got a bob. She got tight fitting clothes, boobs, curves, and stuff. But she can be an Avenger and fight.
ScarJo or the new one, Florence Pugh, Yelena, also looks feminine, and Chloe, the Dora Milaje, like I was saying, were depicted from the real life Women King. So when they made them, like Black Panther comic book, stuff like that. So just like that. I know you probably know that, but yeah. What you say?
2 thumbs down. Rotten Tomatoes 5%.
Speaking of, I guess the Chloé show was trash too, because Tony's still here. Like, why are you not watching the show? You're supposed to be finishing that.
Because they're probably trash, I'm sure.
We're not talking about her being skinny, Tony. We're talking about her looking like a man. You could be skinny and have some hair or some eyelashes. The hell? She out here looking like she changed. And in the first movie, she was more feminine. Shuri was feminine in the first movie.
Yeah, she was.
Way more than she wasn't like the most feminine, but she was a girl. Like now she a dude. And they didn't even let her fall in love. Like, why y'all do that time? Namor was fine as hell. He gave her his mom bracelet. Like,
so you sound like you really like Namor, huh? So he's fine as hell. Okay, Chloe.
for her, like how they was in the romantic scene in the bedroom downstairs. You mean to tell me she had no feelings?
Her brother just died. She was grieving and stuff like that.
She was not grieving. She was down there looking and understanding the culture. He was showing her around in his town. He gave her a token of his appreciation.
Bro, was she kidnapped at the time? Was she a prisoner?
You don't remember that part, Mike? You gotta.
No, I know, but I'm saying, wasn't she kidnapped at that time?
You people fall in love with their kidnappers all the time. You don't remember Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
Stockholm syndrome.
So
yeah, exactly, Josh.
Yeah, but it's not even. She chose to stay there. She could have left.
And hold on, Tony. Instead of typing, why don't you just join the show, buddy? You have the link. I mean, come on. You accomplished your mission. You finished the show now. Get on the show. Come on.
Yeah, to tell Sandy to let you on, man. So that's a Bill's favor. So.
Oh, we got this new. Matter of fact, we got this new sound effect just for Tony and Sandy.
Hey, Josh, I'm about to switch from my phone to my tablet. All right, so y'all let me in again.
All right, I got you.
You're about to see 2 of me in a second. I'm naked. Right. I wouldn't want to see that. No, we're good.
And by the way, Mike, we're going to transition to Avatar 2.
Go ahead.
All right, Chloe. Now that you have the mental theater space to express your thoughts about Avatar 2, what did you think? Was it worth all the hype?
Yes. We saw 4DX, so it was dope.
4DX, could you let everyone know what 4DX is, please?
It's an adventure. It's like one of those rides. All the seats are in forest, and you get to sit down, and there's special effects like fog and wind, and the seats move the whole movie, and the wind blows on you. You can smell stuff. I didn't smell anything, but that's a feature. And lightning and thunder is in there, and there's like vibrations in the seats and fill in the blanks. So honestly, if we didn't see that 4XD, I probably would have fell asleep because we went to the late show. And every time time I got sleepy to cheers a movie like this, I was like, all right. I'm awake. Not because the movie was boring, but because it was super long. And I enjoyed it. I really liked the movie. It. And what else can I say about it? It was cool.
And what'd you think about the graphics?
The graphics were outstanding. Like I said, if y'all know much about me, I'm a water person. Like I love the ocean. And it gave me that nice feeling. Like wow, it was dope. Oh, excuse me, sorry guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if we can. I'll be right back.
Absolutely, and it was a fantastic film. I myself gave it a 9 as well. I thought it was a fantastic story because the one thing that I had in my mind going into Avatar 2, The Way of Water, was how on earth do you tie in the story from the previous one? Because it's been, 13 years since the original one? I mean, I was in college back then. I saw it as a college kid 3 times in the movie theaters. So I was like, how on earth are they going to be able to tie this story in together when people are used to Avenger type movies where you have sequels, months or even a couple years apart, but a whole decade and some change? I was like, how are they going to do that? But the fact that they had, the main character, Sam having a family with Madi by Zoe Saldana, right? And them having kids and whatnot and teaching them to be, not the Nabi or Nadi, right? And I thought that was fantastic. And then, of course, the mega corporation that's making trillions of dollars, of course, they're going to come back and wage war. That was always going to happen in my mind. I was just like, it's going to be a matter of time until that happens. So I thought that aspect was great too. And we find that one of the resources that they're cultivating is from one of the, let's say, the whale type creatures that stops people from aging on Earth. Now, even in present time, if you hear about a resource where people stop aging, whatever corporation is going to that different planet, they're going to spend whatever it takes just to get that resource. So I thought that was great too. And then they had to go to a different, tribe. They were in the forest. They were the forest people. Then they had to integrate into the water tribe. And I thought that was a different spin on things. We got to see some different skill sets, some different, obviously, terrain on Pandora, which is a magical place as it is. We get to see glow in the dark things underwater. I thought that was cool. And bringing back the, original character, but in their avatar form to be the villain, I thought that was great too, because that was one of the things that kept them from being, equal in battle, because they were, the avatar, I guess, body of physique of people at Pandora. But now they were, Marine Army trained with guns, but they also had the avatar form. So I thought that was cool. And I really like that story a whole lot. And of course, the 4DX was great too. And the Cowboy says, Avatar 2 gave me a newfound respect for Avatar. Interesting. It was better than I thought it would be. But yeah, the 4DX kept it extra live. I agree completely. And we are going to see Shazam 2 and 4DX tomorrow. Nice. Chloe, you need 4DX to wake up. That's hilarious. But at the same time, Tony, you saw Quantumania and 4DX with Sandy Cheeks and some friends. So how was that? I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on the movie from that perspective. And also want to take this time to thank Tony Stark Jr. for getting me Hogwarts Legacy for my birthday. Love this game. Fantastic game. Really feels like Hogwarts. And I also want to thank Chloé for taking me to New York City to watch The Cursed Child Harry Potter film on Broadway. So I think anyone who's a Harry Potter fan is absolutely going to love both of these things. So if you know anyone who loves Harry Potter, if you get them this, they're gonna love you forever. But what about you, Big Mike? Because you actually didn't get a chance to go to the theater to see Avatar 2. So what were your thoughts about it from how you viewed it?
Wait. Yeah,
There you go.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I thought I was muted. Can you see me clear or no?
Because the lights behind you.
I mean, am I shaking though, or I'm good?
Oh no, you're fine.
All right, I'm taking mine. I don't know why. Okay. You know what's crazy for me, and it's like I don't know what's happening, right? Not what's happening, but the first Avatar movie, I also didn't see in theaters, and I saw it at home like a year or so later, and I thought it was only okay, and everyone told me because I didn't see it in theaters, I didn't get the full experience. And now it's happened to me again. I thought it was a quality movie, but I probably got a better experience in the theater. But as far as the story, the narrative, and I thought it was really good though. At the same time.
Absolutely, because I mean, essentially, we see Jim Cameron borrow from Pocahontas, another Disney property, and in the first Avatar, where you have the traveler going to a new culture that you're essentially invading and taking the natural resources, and then you fall in love with one of the females from the tribe, right? So I thought that was
Jimmy's one of the best to ever do it. We talked about this on another show. I think they're one of the best to ever do it. So I always trust Jim. I think, and then now moving forward, he'll have it more often. So I think it will be better. Hopefully, Lord willing, I'll be at the next movie theater for the third movie. But no, I thought it was really, really good. Impressive. Surprisingly, after Wakanda Forever, he had another movie with blue water people, and it still did, very, very well. So that's what's up. I mean, essentially, right? It's saying it was blue water people once again.
It sure was. You
But
ain't lying.
Yeah. So, I thought that was pretty good. And I do think that I probably would have a better experience in the 4D or not even 4D, even just theater wise. But either way, it was still a worth movie to worth watch. I probably like that.
Absolutely. And Tony says it was pretty good, but the 4DX and Avatar 2 was better. For one, the movie was shot in 60 frames. That's true. And the water hitting you made more sense in that movie. Plus, I think Avatar 2 was a better movie than Ant-Man. Okay, that's fair. I could definitely see that. And I'm actually curious to hear your take because we were actually discussing something similar in the MCU. They were facing some problems where you actually might need to turn an entire story into a TV show. And the rumor is, and I got to shout out John Campea here, that apparently Avatar 3, which is slated to come out in 2024, apparently they're thinking about turning it into a 9-hour series as opposed to a 3.5-hour film. So when you hear things like that, Miguel, what do you think?
They won't do that. Avatar 2 just almost matched Avatar 1 with over $2 billion. There's too much money to be made on Avatar 3 to do that. I can see them having some maybe in between or after, but they're going to make that movie, bro. It's just too much money to leave on the cutting room floor. And now in that, it's crazy because this was a 13-year gap. But imagine only 2-year gap, right? Because remember, it's already shot. Avatar 3 is already shot. You know what I mean? It's done. So imagine a 2-year gap with the fan base now clamoring for the next movie. And having it in their mind recently, unlike the before, right? So they might make $3 billion, bro. I can see that.
Absolutely. And Tony says, I agree with Mike. Follow the money for all the answers. There you go. I mean,
and also one more thing I want to say. Avatar was synonymous for not having great merchandise. Like you never seen Avatar costumes, even after the first movie and stuff like that. Or like Avatar on kids' walls. So I think after this movie, you might start seeing more merchandise than you had after the first movie.
Absolutely. And Tony Stark Jr. let me know that apparently they're having a Avatar game based on Pandora, and you essentially get to become your own Na'vi.
And I heard they might be getting a Disney ride this time too, because with Disney now. Before it wasn't the first time movie, stuff like that. So I
Right.
feel like they'll
There
help
you
for
go.
what merchandise. It's weird. Like at first movie made so much money, but it wasn't like a popular IP, like outside of the movie itself. So it was kind of weird. So
Go ahead, Chloe.
So Tony was talking smack. Did y'all put his comments up?
Oh, how you had the need 4DX to stay awake?
Yeah, I do. I'll be waking up at 5 a.m. So if it's after 8, I'm just y'all see me on and like my life ain't built that anymore right now. But yeah, and that movie was long. And we saw the late show. What time was the show we saw? Like
7.
it was late. We didn't get out of there. And it was it a work night? No, it was a Friday night, so it was after work. It was a long day. But yeah, that 40X is lit. I think that all the storylines have colonizers in them apparently. This movie, I mean, the storyline was cool, I guess. I mean, does it make sense that the little guy, what's his name? With the dread, the little white boy with the dread? Gosh.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Like, he wouldn't have been my friend after that. You don't let your dad live, okay? You just don't. I understand that part. You like that part, man?
Oh, forget me. I didn't really like it. I wouldn't have let him live either. That's what I said.
Like, you almost killed my friends, and you're not even my real dad.
Well, I mean, technically he is, right?
He's an avatar of his dad, though.
All right, but okay, he transferred his side, his consciousness into the new avatar. So all intents and purposes, he is his dad. That's the closest he got to his DNA.
Well, he should have stayed with his dad. You don't get to set trip. You don't get to keep your dad alive who tried to kill your friends and then go back with your friends.
Right, but the kid, I forget his name, and I'm sorry about that. The kid is he's looking for acceptance. He's looking for his tribe. He's an outsider. Even though he acts, kind of like how was it George of the Jungle, where he getting raised by the jungle, right? Getting raised by the Na'vi, right? The Avatar people, but he understands that he's still human, so he's looking for that, still looking for that connection. And as human beings, we all know that people are looking for their tribe. That's ingrained in our DNA, literally.
Exactly. So he was appropriating the culture, and then when he found what he was looking for, he sold them out.
Absolutely, and I thought that was accurate, right?
Yeah. but then they still kept him. And I mean, they didn't know, but that's why you don't let outsiders in your family.
Also, shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Zoe Saldana, because now she has 3 of the top 5 gross movies ever, like between the 2 Avatars and Avengers Endgame. So shout out to her, because everything she gets in is blockbuster, makes money. So she's really smart with her stuff. And we ain't even counting the Guardians or the Star Trek stuff. She's the blockbuster chick. So
right, she about to catch it or surpass Samuel L. Jackson.
She is. Guardians come out now in a few weeks. That's another box office she about to have. Or in May. So it's crazy.
Absolutely. And Chloe, what were your thoughts about the possible rumor that Avatar 3 might come out for a 9-hour series?
I think they have enough content after all that filming, so they might as well.
I mean, it would probably cost another $1 billion to make.
It's just money.
And take even longer to come out.
I feel like we say $1 billion because we ain't got no money, so it sounds like a lot. But if they already spent $1 billion, it's like whatever. They're making their money back.
Well, I think they only spent $250 million, $250 million for production costs for Avatar 3 already.
Mm-hmm. So this new project's gonna cost $1 billion.
No, they're thinking about releasing it as a TV series, a 9-hour series. So they would add all the extra scenes in there. Instead of trimming the fat, they would elongate it to make it more like a series.
You know why I think they shouldn't do that though, Josh? Also, because of what you guys talked about, the viewing, right? Because now I got to view it at home instead of getting a 3D or 4DX Avatar experience. Isn't that what kind of boosts up Avatar for both movies? Like you remember, I don't know if you remember, like Avatar 1 put 3D movies on the map.
It sure did, and IMAX.
Yeah,
I mean,
which then spawned to the 3D TVs that were selling like crazy at one point. So like to have it at home is kind of weird to me.
I agree, Mike, because like I'm not a person that's like, oh my god, I have to see Avatar because of the storyline. It's like I gotta see Avatar because it's gonna be lit, like the graphics and stuff. So they might devalue their product if they just let it be on anybody's screen at home.
That's definitely fact, and especially to miss out on this 4DX experience. I mean, look at these seats; it looks like a theme park ride. And the fact that water comes out, air comes out, it moves the back of your seat. It feels like someone's kicking the back of your seat at times.
It's like an old technology. Like Jazz. I mean, he went to one of those in Florida like 5 years ago.
Absolutely. I went to one. What was it, like 15 or 20 years ago? The SpongeBob ride at Universal.
Oh no, they got the SpongeBob ride at Six Flags.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying Jazz to a 4D movie theater like 5 years ago. Like I went to Florida like several years ago. So.
And to no one's surprise, Tony had 2 3D TVs. He loved those technology fads. 3D phone. Plus, I used to play 3D on my PS3. I was big into 3D.
You used to steal the 3D glasses when you went to the movie.
I did this time,
Tony.
Allegedly.
I'm saying Tony because
I did have that 3D phone, by the way. I had that too. So.
Exactly, Tony is exactly like the Spider-Man ride at Universal. 1000%.
A 3D phone.
Exactly what it says, like a 3D phone. Like you see the stuff, like it's weird, but you see it like.
You have to wear the glasses to use it.
No, you don't need glasses. It had like a different type of screen on there, like built into the phone.
Screen? Like the stickers that look 3D because it was a hologram.
It wasn't a sticker though. It was like the actual screen of the phone. And it made it like 3D. It was It was HTC Evo 3D. What I had. Actually, you can look it up.
Oh yeah, the Touch Flow 3D interface. I remember that.
Yeah, and it had a movie on there. What was the one? I forget what it was. They already came with the movie that was 3D, but it did kind of hurt your eyes a little bit.
And Tony says, "Bro, I had 5 3D glasses and they cost me $150 each." Oh, okay, Tony.
Only Tony.
Supporting the economy himself, propping it all up.
No, the problem with that, right? They made all the 3D TVs, but they didn't have enough 3D TV shows for you to watch. That's what was the issue.
Exactly.
So waste of money.
They need to merge 3D and VR, and then they're gonna be in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So the next topic we got, of course, is Last of Us. So speaking to the people who did not play the game, and to be fair, I didn't play the game either, but I did watch other people play the game, like Tony and Sandy. Shout out to Tony and Sandy. So I'm familiar with how the gameplay looks, how the characters look. But for people who did not play the game, both Big Mike and Chloé, what were your initial thoughts when you saw the show?
I'll go. I thought initially I was like, oh, it's just a decent show. I wasn't like all big on it, stuff like that. Maybe I didn't play the game. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say overall thing. I think for non-game players, it probably took a little bit more time to hook us than did the original people. I think the people who played the game, that very first episode was like the game. So for them, they were hooked a little bit earlier. I think it took a while. But then I thought the storytelling was excellent as I kept watching the show. But then moving forward, I was like, yo, where are the infected at? And I ended the show with that same type of message. Like, I thought the storytelling was good. I thought the stuff between Joel and Ellie was just excellent. The Frank and Bill episode was great, even though that kind of took me I don't want to say it was an amazing episode, but it's like why we do it? I don't even know why. But it was still a good episode. It's like a weird thing. So and then but as far as the infected is concerned, I was watching the Angry Joe show talk about it. He's a big game player, Angry Joe. But also he, does reviews. They were talking about how the game has so many more infected, and with the show lacking the infected, it makes you think, why? Where's the danger at? Why is it this big thing to get Ellie to do this thing to try to save the planet where there's no fucking infected? Why is everybody scared? It's like so. It's like you can just live in the mountains where the old couple was, where Joel and Ellie went to for 20 years, and they were fine, right? If you really want to get infected, and it's like without the infected, it's like you lose the sense of urgency that you should have because they walked from I'm not walk, but they were from Boston to Wyoming, then back to St. Louis to Kansas City. They were like, "Oh, we're good." Doo-doo-doo. Like they never were like attacked barely that much. So it's like I feel like that's what the show lacked because the narrative is so imperative that Ellie does this to save the planet. But then when you see less and less infected as the show go on, it's like, is it really imperative? Because sometimes we can be fine in different places right now. So besides that, though, I did like the show overall. I'm hoping season 2 gets me more infected. I know season 2. I don't even know or not, Josh, but the game Last of Us Part 2 is supposed to be split in 2 seasons. Season 2 and 3 for the show.
Okay.
Right. So they're gonna do that, for the second part of the game. I don't know point of that or not either. And it makes sense if you know the game, which I do know now, just by reading stuff on them. But yeah, I think it'll be a 3-season show. So hopefully season 2 gives us a little more.
So something like a limited series with a couple of shows, that makes sense.
Well, the game runs out, right? Unless they make another game, but if they're already going to stretch the Last of Us Part 2 to 2 seasons, what more you got left after that? Unless they make another game in the meantime.
And to be fair, we're very familiar with Warner's and HBO Max, and of course they spend major money on things like Game of Thrones, on budgets and all that for production. However, in the video game world, typically when you adapt a video game to a TV series or a film, typically it bombs, right? So I feel like the fact that they didn't spend all their budget on the infected and they didn't have too many infected, but they dramatized the scene, they added the tension, they let it build. So when you actually saw an infected, it actually amped up your oh shit, it's an infected, kind of like it has in the video game. Because if you see Tony Stark Jr. when he's playing when he's streaming, every time there's a scary scene and an infected jumps out, he jumps literally. So I felt like it.
Right, but even on the last episode, right? Like I was telling, and for game players, I guess, spoiler alert. But on the last episode where Joel and Ellie, get taken to the hospital, he gets knocked out. In the game they battle infected first, and then she is about to drown or something, and he's trying to save her. That's when he gets knocked out. But this episode, they have no effect except for that first scene in the beginning. So it's it lessens the danger for me of the entire world without less effect, in my opinion.
And that's fair. What do you think, Chloé?
I'm not really into survivor movies or zombie apocalypse stuff. But I mean, I think the show is really good. I think that it's just depressing. Every time I watch the show, I'm like, okay, gotta get mentally prepared to be depressed. So from that sense, it's just watching trauma the whole time. But I think the cinematography is really good. I think the storyline is really good. Like I said, this is probably the only show that I've watched and was okay, survivalist show, I'm alright with it. But can I take us off topic for 2 seconds?
Huh?
Josh? Because I just read something really disturbing.
Go on.
I sent it in the Mental Theatre chat. So Mike, be prepared for this news, brother.
Okay.
Apparently, Loki TV show has been ditched in 2023.
What?
He said what?
Check your Mental Theatre app.
Does this mean that it's in 2024?
It says it's bad news for Loki TV show fans as Marvel Studios has scrapped the summer 2023 release of one of the franchise's most anticipated series. Loki season 1 became the 3rd streaming show in Marvel Phase 4, beginning with WandaVision. Originals came thick and fast, at least from Marvel's standpoint. Blah blah.
Oh, so that means that they're gonna move it to a film. That's what that means. Oh, okay.
I think we'll move it to next year, honestly.
Yeah, either next year or it's going to be a film. But to keep us on topic, we have someone who wants to weigh in, and it is, of course, our gaming cowboy.
Oh,
Listen, man.
he put the clothes
Listen,
on.
I couldn't sit back and listen to this. The show needs some legitimacy, man, on this topic.
Go ahead.
Now I do hear what you're saying, Mike. About I know Angry Joe mentioned with the zombies, but again, I'm just gonna say this: in the list of video games, right, in my 47 years, because I'll be 47 next month, there's a list of games called the best games you ever played. This game is number one on the list. So I just want to say, if you play the game, it's amazing, but the storytelling is amazing. It's not about the zombies or the infected. They're really filler, to be honest. So when you see the show and it's like, well, they got from here to there. What the show showed is what the game shows. Yes, it's scary because they're out there, but to be honest, it was more there the fillers when you're sneaking around and killing the zombies. The real threat was the people, and that is what the show showed. Like the show showed the people that's left in this world because they're the last of us, is they're willing to kill, steal, rape, whatever. So that was what they really depicted was true to the game. But because it's a video game, like what else you going to be doing for hours besides just like that's what made it fun because while you were waiting to make it to stories, you was killing and you know that the gameplay was so good while you're stabbing zombies, but it was just filler. Like it was so like okay, obviously we could spoil this at the end. Some people are like, "Oh, there should have been more people he killed when he got to Ellie." In the game, you killed like 200 people because it's a video game. So it was fun, right? You just want to kill people. But if they did it in the show, you'd be like, "What is this, Rambo? How'd he kill like 200 people?" So it's like the same thing with the infected. How they gonna kill all them infected? Like and make you feel like it's believable. Now, if it's a Marvel comedy, right? Of course, you're gonna kill like 800 zombies, never get scratched, get hurt. But I think they wanted to make it more realistic. But I get it. If you say, well, the game had like 1 million zombies, I'm telling you from experience, and I beat the game twice, and I'm looking to beat it again, just waiting for that price to come down. It was the filler. Like that's just what it was, right? You know, you endlessly killed zombies because it was kind of like filler as you made your way to the story.
You know what? That makes sense, and it reminds me of all of our rightful gripes that we had with the last season of Game of Thrones, where a lot of characters just had plot armor, especially in the Long Night. So if we would have had more infected, it probably would have felt like that. That's a great point, Tony.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if it had way more infected, you would have been like, this dude is Rambo. He's like, people are at least watching this like, man, that was kind of deep. Now, if you didn't see the game, so it's two things. If you played the game, I think you kind of respect it, but you also, like me, right? I'm very critical on this because I love the game so much, but I'm also biased. I will be honest, right? So part of me is like, man, they nailed it. And then part of me is like episode 3. Like none of that happened in the game. But like they said, that was the one episode they swayed away from the game the most. But it still was a great episode, right? So it's kind of like, I totally get it. And I said it in the beginning to some people. I said, listen, if you didn't play the game, it's going to be a decent zombie show. Now, I thought they was going to have more zombies in it so it could be a zombie show. It ended up not being really a zombie show. It was really about two people connecting with each other that didn't like each other. And the guy, you know, fell in love with her as being like his daughter. But, you know, that's, you know.
Okay, so I didn't play the game, Tony, so I can't come from your perspective. So I'm gonna come from the show perspective, right? So when you so you hear like what's her name, Marlene, right?
Yeah.
At the end, and you hear her talk about like when they made the trip from there to there, she lost like half her team, right? From infected, and that's more so why she was pressing to take Ellie, whether Joe cared about it or not. So it's like they talked about how bad it was, but
yeah, but it it wasn't just only infected. It's so much more out there. Like look at Catherine, right? Her team. Like you go in that city, you didn't have to worry about the infected. They was murdering and killing you. So it wasn't just the world is barren is infected. Is way more than that, as they showed in episode 8 with the people that was eating people. So people quick to say, well, it's like The Walking Dead, so the infected is the most scary thing. No, even Walking Dead strayed from that. Like you watch Walking Dead, you don't even care about the zombies. You're thinking about people out there like Negan and the I forgot the dude with the eye patch and all the crazy people. And that's was the same thing with the show. So,
Yeah,
but
I definitely agree because Big Mike, I know you're big on tropes, right? So usually in anything zombie or post-apocalyptic, you're always going to have that struggle to find humanity. And I feel like this story talks about that
yeah,
a lot. We see all these crazy characters that are human, and those are the really people you have to worry about, not necessarily the
yeah,
infected. So to me, the infected is just that's the setting of the world.
yes.
But in that world, you have to worry about these different parameters, which are the
Yeah.
human beings.
But to Mike's point, if you was going into it thinking that the primary part of the show was these infected, then I get it. Then you were let down because you're like, man, they barely showed them. But if you go into it like it's really just the infected is what's wrong with the world, right? Same thing, it could be a volcano movie. Oh, all of a sudden in the world it's so many volcanoes and now it's hot, so you can't go in this area because it's lava, right? But the movie wouldn't be more about the volcanoes. It would be about how can we survive in this world with volcanoes, and that's pretty much what it was. Not so much that it's these infecteds, but I
Question
get it
on
though.
so, did you hear what I said earlier about how they're gonna make part 2 of 2 seasons? How you feel about that?
They have to. If you watch our playthrough, it took us 10 playthroughs to beat part 1, and part 2 it was like 16. It was so long we took a break. We took like maybe 7 months. We took a break. I remember Josh, you was like, bro, when y'all playing it again? It was like, bro, that game long as hell. Like part 2 is extremely long, so long that I told people I think part of it one of the main characters, which you won't say, I thought should have been a DLC. It just made it too long to have 2 supporting characters on 2 sides. That's all I'll say. So part 2 has to be 2 seasons. It has to be. If not, they're going to lose a lot of content. Part 2 has probably so you see how this game had all right, recognizable characters, Marlene, Joel, Ellie, his brother Tommy, Bill, and Frank. This probably had about Catherine, this probably had about 15 recognizable characters. Part 2 is like double. It's like 30 main characters in the show or the movie or wow, the game. It feels like a movie. And so you cannot do it justice if it's only one season, at least only 9 episodes. They're going to have to.
Are they making a part 3 game, or do you know about that?
There's no talk of part 3 game. However, in part 1, you got a multiplayer mode called Factions, which that was like one of my favorite things to play until Destiny came out. So they've been working on Factions part 2 for many years. It was supposed to come out with the game part 2. They decided to make it a standalone game, and it's supposed to be a live service game. So if they have good characters in Factions 2, kind of like how Destiny is a live service game, but they got these recognizable characters. If they can make actual characters separate from part 1 and part 2, then that could be its own season 4. But I don't know, no, the jury's out on that because all we seen was pictures of Factions 2, which look pretty good, and they said it's going to be amazing, but we can't say.
Okay, so right now it looks like it's only going to run 3 seasons then after the part 2 game.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. And, if we want to transition a little bit to Mando season 3, it looks like Mando's only going to last 3 seasons because apparently this season has had the lowest ratings in Mando history, which I was very surprised to hear because I've loved this so far.
I wasn't.
I told you episode 1 was mid. You was like, it was great. I was like, nah, it was mid.
Bro, remember I said it took me to episode 4. Like I liked episode 4, the one where they went to this village and all that stuff. And then after that, I just wasn't into it. The very last episode I got into it, and then I was a little more into it. But I said it. I said honestly, if this didn't have Star Wars name on it, it'd just be a cool sci-fi show. But I didn't think it was that great. The kid really stole the show, to be fair. But I'm gonna get out of here. But can I just give you my rating for the Last of Us show?
Oh, please do.
So I'll say this: if it wasn't tied to a game that I love so much, I would have gave it a 7. Like, it was a cool show. I like the fact that it was very violent. I like the fact that it was like, wow, a kid died in it. Like, that was shocking. I like the fact that at the end it was like, whoa, like what happened and blah blah blah. Can I spoil it? Is a spoiler?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so I like the fact that Joel killed the doctor and rescued Ellie, but she had no clue, and she really wanted to go through with it. She didn't know she was gonna die, and he lied to her. I was like, that was dope. I like the fact that they had people eating people. I like that it was a serious tone. I really, really like that. But as a show, I would have gave it a 7. Like, it was decent, but as a adaptation of a game, I think is now superseded Sonic 1 as the best adaptation of a video game for me. Sonic will still be number 2, but this now, yes, they strayed a little bit, as everything does, but this was so close to the game, besides not having 1,800,000 and 800 infected to kill, and also they had like 1,000,000 humans too to kill, like, because it's a video game. But as a show that was adaptation of a game, it gets a 9.
Wow.
So I was
Okay.
yeah.
And on that note, I can't wait to see what Assassin's Creed does on the Netflix series. But you have a good night, Tony Stark Jr. And shout out to Sandy Jinx as well, and happy birthday.
Thank you, man. And you guys take care. Thank you for letting me on. Claudiz, make sure your seat starts shaking so you can wake up. And Big Mike, it's good to see you. Josh, as usual, love you, man. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.
And as we see here, Jon Favreau has clarified the timeline of The Mandalorian. Seasons 1 and 2 take place over many years, and Grogu was with Luke for 2 years before reuniting with Din Djarin. So I guess he was out stealing the thunder from Boba Fett, right?
Well, first of all, let's go back to your stuff about the rating and stuff like that. I think that I think part of it was the time it took so long for it to come back. The second season ended like December 2020 or 2020. That's like the 2023, bro. That's a long
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
So I think that part of it is that they're trying to get your audience back at this point. And I think Boba Fett didn't help that whack ass show. So I feel like that's part of it right now. And maybe the part about Grogu is wearing off, like the whole Baby Yoda phenomenon a little bit. I feel like that's my thoughts.
Claudiz?
What's happening? I like it. I think it's cool. I like the fact that Grogu is getting more screen time right now. I look forward to it like I used to. I like it. It's cool.
I like when you know what I like. I like when I watch it with the closed caption. When Grogu tries to talk, it says Grogu babbling. That should cracks me up.
I like it. I think Grogu is finally getting like, he's finally getting his screen time, and like his character building finally for him.
How do you feel about what I said about his phenomenon wearing off? Why the ratings are that good? What do you think?
I feel like people just didn't know about it, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know that it was coming back out. If Josh didn't say anything, I wouldn't know.
And for me, I think that's a great question, Miguel. Is the magic of Mando and Baby Yoda / Grogu over? I think for the casual fan, yes, because I feel like we know some people who love Baby Yoda but have no idea who Grogu is.
Right.
So I feel like you have that disconnect, and unless you give the show a chance and you like it, I think that popularity will die off. Number one. Number two, we all know how critical Star Wars fans can be, and essentially like shut down or boycott a project, as George Lucas found out. But for me, I love the action scenes. The action scenes for me, the ship fighting scenes were incredible for me. I was totally
that move that Bo-Katan pulled, that shit was dope as hell. Yo, when she flipped the ship, oh man,
that was dope. But the Mando did in this season opener. I was okay, for me, that confirmed it for me that he is truly indeed force sensitive, without a doubt.
Mando?
Absolutely.
Okay. Wait, which movie are you talking about? Which one?
In the first one where he is when he saves everybody.
Oh! He saves his whole
because to have those reactions, and I also said this with Poe Dameron. He has to be force sensitive. Maybe it's not on the same degree, and I would have to say this for Han Solo. To a degree, he's force sensitive for what they do.
How'd you feel about them going to this other story in this episode just passed with the Dr. Parching?
I thought that was great because we learned that Moff Gideon escaped. Hello. Yeah. So for me, I can't wait to see that story resolved. Like, of course he escaped, and where'd he go? Like, I can't wait to figure that out. What do you think, Chloé?
I don't know. I kind of don't. I try not to have any like expectations. I kind of just want to see what happens as we go. So,
I'm loving it. I think it will be a season 4 because Favreau said that he already wrote the season 4. I think it would be, but I also think to the other part, I think this is Star Wars fans clamoring for a Star Wars movie. It's been so many years now, and I think we're like they just announced like Feige's movie got canceled. Who else? The chick, what's her name? The one who did Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins, her movie got canceled. But I think Star Wars fans like we want a movie. Like I think that's what it is, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair, and I feel like it's going to be important which movie they decide to move forward with. And selfishly, I hope Kevin Feige is involved.
well, Taika, I think they're doing Taika's movie. I think actually, so we'll see. I don't know.
Absolutely. But all right, guys, we already been live for 2.5 hours, so we're gonna call it a night there. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you, Big Mike and Claudius, for joining us once again, and also the Cowboy Tony Stark Jr. Thank you for letting us be graced with your presence, which is always great. But thank you again, guys.
But don't forget about Jay, your cousin. Thank him too.
I was getting there, and also my cousin Jay. And those who wanted to be here but couldn't be here. You're here in spirit, and you're definitely coming on next time. But thank you again, and talk to y'all soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Peace.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Let's try.